Oh, damn. Well, we had some great commentary in there about happy endings. Why?
Because we prude over here.
Are you?
I
Try
am.
to be.
I believe in I believe in true love. Do you believe in true love, Kev?
I think love is violent. Everyone knows that I think this.
That doesn't mean
That's
you
a
can't
green. That's a
believe-
green
that's
flag.
not exclusive
If I ever heard
of
one.
it not being true.
I think that's true love.
Bachelor
what
number
is-
one. love is violent.
What does
All right.
what does true love mean?
What does true love mean?
What is false love?
False love, when you love with conditions. True love is when you just love unapologetically.
Yeah, like that nasty shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like
Freaky.
nasty shit.
Like in the
Freak
back
off.
of the Uber,
you
getting
think
I
about
like
the-
freak
getting
love.
slicking.
No, I'm talking about the freak off. Like Diddy?
Oh, the freak off, like Diddy.
Yeah.
I would be down for a freak off, but just not at Diddy's place, you know?
Vicks want to go to the freak off so bad.
I don't know if I want to go so bad.
Wait, is it freak
But I
off or
would
real?
go.
What, is that a real? I think you just made that up.
Yeah, you just go
No,
watch
Diddy-
people have sex and
Diddy was
then you
doing
rate
freak
it.
offs. No, you don't know what was at Diddy freak off. You
I
don't
feel
know.
like
feel like-
it probably wasn't as crazy. I've been to some crazy celebrity parties.
You been to some
and
freak
it's always
offs?
and it's always I mean I've been to like orgies and stuff
Out
like that.
them.
But it's always like not as tight as I think it's gonna be. And I'm like
And I don't even
okay.
think I don't even think it would be that tight, to be honest.
like
freak off?
the cool
Honestly-
shits when it's like spontaneous random people.
When
being
I was
like-
at the freak off, I left.
when were you at the freak off?
I was at the freak off with my homegirl. She brought me to the freak off. I don't want to
To-
say her name on the thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Welcome to the freak off.
She brought me to the freak off, and she went upstairs and all that. I was like, all right, this is too much freakiness.
well, it's like you gotta be participating in some way, even if it's voyeurism. You have to. It's
So
still
how
the,
do
it's
you-
still the
how do you-
participation.
I think I was
Shut
too
up.
high.
It's still the participation of voyeurism.
How do you
Y'all be
differentiate?
cutting me off, and I fucking hate it. I do.
You gotta deal with it.
Yeah.
How do you
I'm
differentiate
back.
being a voyeur or just watching?
It's the same shit.
Right.
I
but
was
she's
just about
like,
to explain that, you dumbass.
Oh, tell us.
do you not like me?
I do not like it when you interrupt me and I'm in the middle of saying a thought,
All right.
because
Chris-
then I forget what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
I don't have it anymore.
Oh no.
Chris cut me off so bad today. Chris got so angry with me.
Oh yeah. So how'd
Let
that,
me tell you.
how'd that go?
He got to tell you.
How'd that go?
Oh, Shawn here.
Oh, nice. All right, we got it out.
Can we talk about the?
Tucker, I care about you dearly. Just try not to talk over me so much. Unless the joke's really good.
How did it go at the Domino today? We want to talk about that.
I don't know. I mean, it was fine. We were just talking about the bar. Serving guests. Getting things going faster. All that stuff. You know?
Hush Puff is sending
Hush Puppy.
bullet fire of reels
Oh, really?
to our group chat. One of them,
I see.
one of them, like, this is Tucker when he's old. It's an old white man saying on a rant, "Yo, what's up, dude? What's going on?"
Hello! Well, if you want to, if you're over here, you'll kind of be out of the shot, and then the shot will be like right here.
Yeah. Or you can sit on the couch. You can sit over there.
Chair is not gonna be as comfortable.
What's up, dude? You look comfy. Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. I'm about to turn 30, so my life's pretty much over. It's pretty much done. All my dreams are being pushed to the side. You know, I'm retiring.
You're trying
Yeah.
to get Tucker into stand-up.
I'm just gonna be like an old weird guy. I'm gonna be like an old Bywater character, you know, like, oh, that's old man so and so, you know, and you see me doing some weird shit.
Yeah.
Old man so and so. Yeah. Oh yeah, you gotta pick up the mic. We're doing the live stream. It's the pre-show.
So you can choose whichever mic you
Yeah,
like.
you can do both.
Yo.
Do both.
You can do the
Yo.
double. Yeah.
Hold on. I like this one better.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Is
So-
that
You
3?
sound all
All right,
wrong.
cool.
That's what you go. That's what people saying right now. The word right was what people saying. But we gonna keep it real loose today. What we talking?
Oh,
We
so
gonna
y'all live right now.
We
we
are
live
so
right now, but
they're
it's the
not
pre-show.
seeing our faces. We do the pre-show before 8. At 8, we start streaming the camera.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna
this
take my
is
shirt
what,
off.
This is what they can see right now,
Gotcha,
and then
gotcha,
this is
gotcha.
what they will see once we
Oh,
transition
that's
to
not a
that.
picture of me, is it?
That is
That's
a
you.
picture of you.
That's you. That's the one we
I got
found.
it set up.
That's good.
That was the one where I found with you and Usher.
Yeah,
But
you
you're Usher.
should have asked for a photo, Kev.
No, that's cool.
So, do you always do button all the way up, or you kind of like depending on the event? You're like, no, let's do 2 buttons off. I'm feeling loose.
Vic, you can turn this to red.
You know,
for me?
you always button all the way to
yeah.
top.
2 buttons loose is like
That's heavy.
that's like I'm on a yacht.
Right. See, 2 buttons is my standard. I go 4 buttons loose when I'm getting on the yacht.
All the way down to belly.
You know, yeah, it'll be like at the belly button.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
We trying to get
I'm
a.
but when you see me moving around on my button on the top, it's
Uh-huh.
business.
Right, it's strictly business.
Yeah, this was a business shot.
Yeah.
That was-
So if you show up to a date and you have a button on the top, she's like, "Oh, I guess it's not what I thought it was."
It depends on where we at.
It depends. All right.
If it's Miami, yeah.
Come here.
You gotta have buttons down in Miami.
Yeah.
You gotta have buttons down in the city limits. They pull you over if you're not having a few buttons down.
Business. Like, yeah, what's up?
Come here, dude.
Could you ever rock like a leisure suit?
Leisure
Do you think with like the
there
huge
we go.
collars?
There we go. We in the pocket now.
Leisure suit?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
You talking about like a
Like-
sis sucker?
Like John Travolta
Like a tracksuit? Oh.
in a Saturday Night Fever with the long collars in the 70s.
All suits now are leisure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
profound.
yeah, we're in the age of athleisure.
What's
Athleisure.
in vogue right now? Because I mean, when we get on 8 o'clock, I'm gonna talk about what shoe Shawn is. But what's in vogue right now? Because, like, I feel like New Year's, we coming up on New Year's,
Yeah.
and New Year's fashion change every year. So like,
Are skinny jeans coming back?
is skinny? I don't think skinny
Maybe
in
a couple
right
years
now.
before that comes back.
Skinny not in right now.
Interesting conversation about skinny jeans.
Oh, yeah.
This is like a real topic I've been thinking about for the past couple of weeks. Really funny.
Vic, can you turn up a
I don't
Shawn?
know if I should interject it now.
I mean, what's
Your microphone? Number 3 on
Yes,
It-
it does. My lucky number, 3.
Wow.
so we good tonight.
My lucky number's 8 because it's infinity vertical. Vertical infinity.
Well,
It's my brand name.
put 2 3s together to say 8.
Is it? Oh, you like physically put them together. Oh, damn. All right, we gotta talk after the show then. we gotta get some. We gotta link and build. You know, I kind of like that, the 2 3s. I'm 5.
I'm the hottest, but I can stay hot.
You hot as
I don't
hell.
have to talk too loud. You want something to drink?
1 2.
You want something to drink? We got all type of juices and
Wow.
liquor in the back
Potions.
before we start.
1 2 1 2.
Uh,
1 2 1 2.
What about?
1 2 1 2.
How do you feel about?
We usually like. I mean, we get all type of vibrant over here. Set radio.
Like 4 better?
How do you feel about fedoras?
Fedora.
When is a fedora okay to wear?
Like me and hat conversation, I don't
You don't want to go into
wear
hats? Is that one of your no-goes topics? You don't want to go into hats?
My accessory game is I have a belt that I brought in '92 that I still wear.
Oh, sounds like a good quality belt.
Yeah, because I'm not buying them.
What they call that fast? Oh, turn me back up. Fast fashion.
Fast fashion.
We ain't fucking with fast fashion.
Everything
No.
kind of like
You gotta buy the pieces.
it ends. It dies
know-
after a few
You
months.
know, I still got pieces from the refresh
Yeah.
that I still wear. That
Oh.
was like 7 years ago.
Need to get some
Yeah,
shoes
it's not
from there.
It's not picking you up at all.
I know. I was.
They do say from 7 years ago.
It might be your
7 years ago
cable.
was a long
I got a
time ago.
hoodie I purchased in 1991.
It's barely picking
In
you up.
19, well, I was 3 years old.
Yeah, 91.
I got you
One, two,
cranked
one, two.
though.
Ralph Lauren.
You must
It might be the cable.
1, 2. I was just hot this good.
You want to try number 3?
Yeah.
1, 2. All right.
There you go. You sound great, dude.
No.
I'm so proud of you.
We live tonight. So we got our own ecosystem. This the last show right here. This the last Setdeflo we did.
Oh, for real? What was that at?
We at the Domino. Now I'm at this little hole in the wall. We bring the chandeliers in. It look like it's New York. You gotta come check it out one time.
Elevated grunge.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's real small and sexy. I had to get out of Po' Boys. It was getting crazy over there. I'll tell you about that off the air.
Yeah, gotta set the flow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still pushing. Yeah. What I realized is you don't lose until you quit. We had so many chances to quit, but right now it's what year this
that's
is?
subjective though.
Okay.
Because quitting, in the context of quitting, it means that you just stopped.
That's quitting, right?
Yeah, but you ain't stopped.
No, I ain't stopping.
Like quit. When I hear the word quit, it's like you dead. Like man, his heart just quit.
He just woke up and quit one
Some
morning.
niggas quit though. Some niggas like it's rough.
I feel some people transition.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So it's like the transition is really more important than what you came from, right? It's always about progression.
I feel like we gonna get into a lot of shit tonight. You know,
I need a drink then if we gonna.
We gonna get into a lot of.
I'm
shit
gonna
tonight.
derail all of it.
Let me go. Would you prefer wine or something harder than that?
Liquor.
Okay, great.
Bring
I'll bring some.
The repertoire. We still early. This
Yeah.
all pre-show. This not even real
bring
show
some
yet.
stuff
We
out.
just still vibing. Usually our guests don't come on time.
Right.
Usually our guests don't come on time.
Thank
so
you. The handler.
When they do, we could get a pre-show and just go into the whole thing.
See, that's a bunch of young people.
Basically.
My time is so important to me.
Oh, see, we gonna talk about.
Look, I'm with you. I feel you, dude.
It's
I feel you, man.
Yeah, man, it's deep, bro. You guys know about anything about quantum physics?
A lot. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know
Vic
anything
does.
about quantum physics.
Vic does.
Vic probably does.
So there's a duality to my life, right? There's the aspect of the past, present, and future is happening at the same time, right? That's the basis of quantum physics, like the zero theory. But then the reality is the physical reality that we're physically talking in right now.
Yeah.
It's like short.
But we also talking this is also happened. Well, it's not linear, basically. Time is not linear.
This conversation already happened.
No, so in context, think about it, right? We study history to understand how we can make a better future, but we're living present.
Yeah.
To build a better future. So it's still in the context of relative reality, but we all exist in this bubble of perspective that we know now, but in the past and in the future.
It's all one.
Yes.
All one space. I forgot how to break that down. I'm gonna try to break that down. Tucker, break that down for me.
Okay, so you have the nucleus, right?
Yeah.
Are you following?
I'm following.
So you have the nucleus, right? And what's inside of every nucleus?
The proton and neutron.
No, the mitochondria.
The mitochondria.
Yeah. They'll tell you the mitochondria is a powerhouse of the cell, but that's liberal propaganda. So I'm not really going anywhere with this, actually. I'm kind of just freestyling all this.
About energy.
Okay. I'm glad we got here. I'm glad we started this early. I'm glad we started this conversation early.
We gotta get Neil deGrasse Tyson in here.
It's like in the store, it's a big thing. People coming in now, like, man, why you don't play no music? It's like, man, you know what's in my head.
That's good.
You think I want to compound that with music? Right? It's like there's a whole galaxy happening in my fucking brain right now. Like, all I want to hear is wind.
I'm actually reserving a lot of my questions right now for 8 o'clock. So I'm letting.
We got 11 more minutes.
Yeah, we got 11 minutes. We let shit ride.
And we gonna astro project on y'all. All
See, Vic, I told you we was gonna get deep tonight.
Oh my god.
I told you we was gonna get real deep tonight.
I remember when I was a kid, my dad got a book on astral projection. He was like, "Look, we're gonna learn how to astral project, Tucker." I was like, "All right." Let's go.
Lately, I started reading about mind control, cause you know, I'm into Black history a lot, so I'm always reading about like what's happened in the past, so I can see where the fuck I'm going. But sometimes I get tired of that. I just get mentally drained about the state of the world or the plight of America. So I was like, let me just get into some different shit. So I started reading this book on mind control the other day. And I had showed the book to Vic. She was like, this book felt mad manipulative. I was like,
it's like the art of manipulation.
yeah, but I feel like you need to know that, because even if I'm not gonna use manipulation tactics,
Protect yourself.
yeah,
right?
somebody might be trying to manipulate me, and I need that game.
Right.
You know Andrew, Shawn? Andrew, that's the dude who his name Andrew. He from the Seven Wall. That's his liquor company, Exclave. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't no.
So this is whiskey.
Yeah.
This is a whiskey. This is vermouth, so it's gonna be kind of sweeter, like a little bit of a sweeter wine, but it's really nice over some ice. Courvoisier, and then this is an Amaro, which is a little bit more herbaceous, but it's a nice balance. It's a little sweet, a little.
The Amaro's kind of like Listerine, right?
What's that?
The Amaro's the one that kind of tastes like Listerine a little bit. No?
Why would you say that?
Well, the Amaro,
This is a nice Amaro.
I like it. I'm
the
just
Amaro
saying.
is the Chicago shit, right?
No, it's Italian.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry for saying that.
I've had it.
But yeah, that's nice over some ice. It's just got a little more flavor and depth to it. It's a digestif, so something that you can. Yeah.
Mix it all together.
Tell me what you. Oh God. Help us.
It's okay. I'm a
Save
mixologist.
us.
So we're gonna get into a couple of shit.
Can I
and
get
then
you?
we're gonna get into the store. I'm definitely gonna get into Pink from the night. Basically, how we even know each other, and then the state of the culture.
I like that bullet points.
Yeah, cause I mean, a lot of people don't know Shawn. Yeah, and I want them to know where they even come from.
That's Tyrone. He's named after Muggsy Bogues.
How y'all? Wait, when you was working at the store?
Me?
Yeah.
Mm,
No, that was
no.
Malik was working at the store. Malik was working at the store.
I don't really know much about the
Malik
fashion
is-
world.
Malik is in New York.
New York.
Malik is running his play in New York, running around town. No, actually, I see Honey, like she came to the show 2 weeks ago. I haven't seen her in 5 years. She just pulled up at my at the show.
You know, I thought I saw her, but I didn't recognize her. And it was like across the room. It was really dark.
Yeah, that was it was Dr. Logan. Yeah, I didn't see her in so long, and she just pulled up. It was the Dr. Romance show. It's the Dr. Romance show. Yeah, it was. She was mad chill. When she was Honey, she was cut loose.
We were so young.
She was 18. That's what I'm saying. She was just
Super young.
wilding out.
Going
Thank you,
through
Vic.
what an 18-year-old goes through.
Yeah, that was funny. She
What a
teaching
time.
us some shit.
That was a very how would I describe that time?
Oh wow, I still talk about it.
Congested.
That's what you call it?
Yeah. It was a lot of pent up.
I think I was still a teen.
I'll tell you this though, and we're gonna get into it later. I know that energy. I know a lot of kids try to recreate the energy, and it hasn't been recreated yet.
Oh no, it was impossible.
It hasn't been recreated yet.
See, this is where quantum physics comes into play.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting how people. I'm gonna use fashion as my basis, right? It's funny how people interpret fashion. Well, some people interpret fashion by way of the designer, right?
Mm-hmm.
When fashion should be interpreted by your personal perspective, right? And you know, one of the main primary things about fashion and why people always ask, how do you pick this stuff? Well, I went into the space-time continuum and just accessed what was dope.
In your mind.
And I keep seeking just the elevation of perspective, and it just works. Because I understand the past, present, and the future.
I feel like any art form, I think it's really just about knowing who the fuck you are. Like,
we got 5 minutes.
Knowing yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I'm excited to see what's gonna happen in 5 minutes.
We'll have the official intro. You're just gonna be able to see your faces. Really, is the only
Confetti
difference.
will rain down.
They can hear us already.
We gonna turn on. That's when the lights come on. That's when we get active. Right now we just vibing.
I'm waiting for like
I have a dance routine.
fireworks.
Yeah.
Tyrone will do a
Dance is gonna
backflip.
come out the
Tucker
back.
takes off his
Yeah.
shirt.
Take my shirt off. I got set the flow.
Tyrone know what time it is. He went over
Yeah,
there and got him his
Tyrone's
own
ready.
little pillow.
Tyrone about to laser.
I wish Tyrone could do like a top hat and cane type trick
I know, right?
or dance routine for us.
When you're Tyrone, you really can't see. Oh man. Yeah, Tucker. In
That's
your
why
contract.
Tyrone came over here and got it in real quick. Like, all right,
Yeah, he's about to
what's
go
up,
too.
bro? Yeah, it's about to get deep. I'm out.
He's about to be sleeping like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
You been in town lately?
I haven't been nowhere else but in town.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
I know that sometimes I pass by and you'd be closed or you'd be like, man, I'm in Paris or some shit. Last time I talked to you.
Right. Yeah, bro. Life be life.
I'm trying to think, have I been anywhere this year?
You went to Costa Rica?
I did go to Costa Rica. Costa Rica was nice.
It kind of seems kind of too nice,
Costa Rica?
you know.
Well,
I was surprised how black
I don't
want
want to go anywhere could be described as paradise.
Why not?
Well,
I don't know. Like I'll go.
By definition, paradise is not what people think it is. It's actually a prison.
Right. Yeah.
You gotta
I
look
think
up
I
the
just
definition of paradise.
subconsciously probably knew that.
What is the definition of paradise?
You can look it up.
Let me
but
look it up. Let me look it up.
It definitely means. It doesn't mean bliss and happiness. Fun fact.
Is it like counterintuitive? The garden where, according to the Bible, Adam and Eve first lived. Or there was just
An intermediate place or state where the souls of the righteous await resurrection and the final judgment.
Oh,
Or
it's-
C,
it's
Damn.
biblical.
the dwelling place of God and the blessed dead.
Sounds like a bummer.
Heaven too.
Yeah.
I'm about that
Doesn't-
biblical
A
shit.
place or state of bliss, felicity, or delight.
You know, so around people when I was going to the Saint a lot, I used to go in there and talk to a lot of crackheads and get drunk and talk to crackheads, and they would always try to hit me with some Bible verse and like weaponize the Bible. Yeah, so I started reading the Bible just to like have so I could weaponize it back. You feel me?
Tales all his time.
Yeah, like I'm just trying
That's what it's for.
I'm trying to get on my game. I'm trying to get on my game. You know? Speaking of that, speaking of game, Tokyo hit me up this morning.
Oh man.
He said, "Call me, Pip." He always called me. He always hits me up like every 7 months. Like we'll stop because the last time we was doing something, he got mad at me. We did a show at
The Ace.
Yeah, we did a show at the Ace. It was me, him, and my man Juice who played the horn because me and Juice still do the shows together. And Tokyo was our third member. He was singing, and he just crashed out on us. He crashed out on us hard that night.
It didn't, you know.
Was you at
for
that
the
show?
audience? Yeah, I opened for y'all.
Oh yeah, you was
Yeah.
at that show. I forgot.
I mean, for the audience perspective, no one really knew what to expect. So even though in your mind you're just like, oh, I wanted it to be like this,
No, it was a crash out.
the audience didn't know that vision. So from our perspective, it was kind of like, okay, this is interesting. You know what I mean?
I gotta tell y'all.
Might be
off air on
TMI.
this one.
to
I gotta tell you.
discuss.
I gotta tell you how he crashed off air on this one.
Someone hit him with a poison blow dart mid performance.
You know Tokyo, so
Father Tokyo.
yeah.
Isn't his name Father Tokyo?
Yeah,
Is the old
yeah.
name?
Shawn knows. I'll tell y'all.
Same.
What
I
time?
was too much of a prude to get into his art.
We are 1 minute
Okay,
away.
we
Probably
good to
30
go.
seconds, really.
One minute
We
away.
good to go.
You want me to just do it and you can do the thing?
We live
Just
in
fucking
effect.
do it.
We got the,
It's
uh,
8 on
We'll
my
do it
phone.
live.
We live in effect today.
Here we go.
Welcome to Set Radio.
Right on the money.
Yo,
right
yo,
at 8.
yo, yo.
It's freeTrial, aka Tucky Tuck.
It's 8 o'clock.
I'm here with Lil Jodeci, our host, our leader, fearless leader. We got Shawn Forbes in the studio.
AKA the Hierarch.
Shout out our producer Vic also. The Hierarch.
Wait, you Tucky talking now? You started that shit.
Tucky.
Okay.
My coworkers call me Tucky Tuck.
Who calls you
Chuck.
Tucky Tuck?
Some of my coworkers at the
Hold up.
At the
Did
Pentagon.
you say your daughter?
Wait, what happened?
so what?
You said your daughter called you Tucky Tuck?
My daughter, Charisse. Charisse Umbahagen. Yeah. Can you imagine if I had a daughter?
No.
No.
Yeah. Come on. Come on. Yeah, my daughter. She's actually 15. Yeah. No.
Yeah, he like the bullshit.
He did.
Yeah.
Bullshit, y'all.
That's crazy.
So we got my man Shawn in here today. We probably gonna, like I said, we gonna get into a lot of shit today. And Shawn, you never been on the show yet.
Nah.
You never been on the show yet. Shawn is actually one of my OGs. He kind of put me on a lot of game in the community. And also, so this is what we doing, Shawn. We got the Set Gala coming up, right? And it's really celebrating champions of counterculture. We really, that's really what the Set Gala about. And I always tell people what counterculture started for me and a lot of kids in this city was Regarding Fresh. And Shawn is the owner of Regarding Fresh. So we gonna get into a lot of shit on that perspective today. But I kind of just wanna, I kind of wanna start at the beginning of the day because I think it's important for people to just see the lineage and the history, the timeline of where we at now in New Orleans, but where New Orleans was at when you opened the store in what, 08, 09?
08.
08, 2008. And I'm gonna just say it from what I remember going around the store and just seeing the red bench in front of the store and seeing kids just be fashionable and kids just being able to express themselves. And a lot of I would say this, a lot of stores you see today, the blueprint came from Refresh. So, to be honest with you, conceptually, what made you even start a boutique store in this city in 08? And what was the idea behind that?
Well, the conversation to open the store actually came about in 2003. I was still working in the music industry, and my previous business partner was like, "Yo, man, I should do a store in New Orleans." That makes sense, right? 'Cause at the time he was styling. He was doing some other things, but he was styling.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne was one of his clients on different levels. And he wound up styling Wayne, but he had an issue with getting his checks from Universal.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Yo, man, I don't know how to get my money from these dudes, man." So I was like, well, worked it out, got a check overnighted to him. And from there, it birthed the concept and idea of transitioning from what that was at the time. That was like heavy Bape era. And we did that Bape, Wayne, red camo, that epic.
The purple jacket shit. When that famous picture.
Yep.
We gonna highlight
Oh, for
that.
real?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Even I know about that.
fast forward, life happened, Katrina happened. So the conversation tapered off. But at the end of 07, I was actually still living in Atlanta. Well, I was living in Atlanta and I was like in limbo. I was actually looking at moving to Japan. I was literally like looking for an apartment. And the conversation came back up at like, let's say September, October of 07. November, I was in New Orleans. We were looking for a space, found a space, and the actual day the store opened, it was during All-Star Weekend. That was in New Orleans, and we wasn't necessarily prepared, but we opened, and then from there, just the light switch never turned off. And really the synergy around Refresh and the concept and the idea, the timing couldn't have been any more perfect than it was, because you think about post Katrina, you had a whole city that was displaced 2 years prior to that, and a lot of the kids, y'all, went away, experienced new things, and came back with a whole new perspective. And I think Refresh was the key to help the kids unlock living that truth, right?
Facts.
Because the French Quarter, when I was coming up in New Orleans, we didn't really hang out in the French Quarter. We was everywhere but the French Quarter.
That's also facts.
Right.
So, the surgence of the youth culture in the Quarter was definitely new for me. You had all the skaters, right, which consisted of every demographic, ethnic background, rich, poor, whatever. They was all skating hard every day. Then you had the kids that didn't skate, but their expression was through their fashion. They had a little crew that was around that time. They were doing like the whole little 90s wave. They was hard body with it too. I was like, damn, y'all really went to the archives. Then you had the real artsy kids that, in the normal context of things, they would be considered awkward or odd. And there was the cool kids. So we had every segment of youth culture represented in and around that time, and we just became the focal point, because it was about inclusiveness, embracing the culture, embracing the youth, understanding the need or yearning to be present. You know what I mean?
I would say this too, I'm like from New Orleans, born and raised, and growing up, I understood New Orleans pre-Katrina and then after Katrina, and I know, like, for me, growing up, I probably always been like, you hang with your homies who they on their own type of shit. Mm-hmm. But if you're like, I went to McMain, so you might be like the outside of your homies, but you still know how to fuck with them. But Refresh was the spot, like, all the counterculture kids, all the alternative kids. And not just that, then they'll have the hood people that come in trying to just vibe out. It would be a collective pot of gumbo. Yeah. And you seen it visually in real time, and that was a place for people to hang. And I think
it was polarizing.
Yeah, it was. It was. Because I'm gonna tell you this. I remember one time I was at this one probably Dreams was still open, or 300, because all this was right around the corner. Mm-hmm. And I remember Lou one time was outside. We was all hanging out, and Lou had on some shorts that was probably up to his fucking waist almost. Nice. They was that high, right? But in 08, 09, it was like this. I mean, it was not what you would see in the city, and that was something like, it was transformative to see people who talk like you and walk like you, and that could be comfortable in that type of environment.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying seeing that grown man in short shorts was transforming for you?
It was in 08, in 2008, because you think about it now, it doesn't seem like shit at all. Right. Even when we was talking about Tokyo before the show came on, and I remember because Tokyo was standing upstairs above, and one year I did I think this before me and you ever met. I did Wayne and Cody wanted me to do a DJ pop-up behind the store in the alley.
Oh, for the sale.
Yeah, and Tokyo came downstairs, and Tokyo's like 6'3". Right. He's the biggest, blackest dude you could meet.
He might be taller than 6'3".
And he was just dressed so avant weird, like fucking weird for the size that he was. Right. Like, you don't see big black dudes dressing like this. And all of this energy was just enveloped in this one space. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now this shit is dispersed. Right. And we're gonna get into how the city is now and like where a lot of how this shit formed, and a lot of this shit formed. I'm gonna say it formed at 223. You know what I'm saying, Peters?
Yeah.
And when did you know? Like, I usually don't ask questions like this, but since you here, I got to it because I got to give people the fucking history of the city. Because a lot of times, how this shit go is, I'm sensitive to how transplants engage in the city, how gentrifiers engage in the city, especially people who come here and they don't realize how much work people put in for the city to even be at this place right now, and they just take that for granted. When did you know that Refresh probably was something special?
Well, from a cultural perspective, Tucker, you may be a little outpacing this section, but from a cultural perspective, but you a brother. You a brother to me. Don't believe that.
You said what?
You a brother to me, so believe that.
Oh, dude, yeah, hell yeah, man.
But you know, when I came to New Orleans initially, it was '92. I had dreads, and at that time, I was pretty much an alien.
Yeah.
Right? So your perspective in that loose scenario was my perspective walking through the streets of New Orleans every day, right?
Yeah.
Like, who's this guy with his damn dreads, right? And then for me, I'm the type of kid that was everywhere. I'm in the hood. I'm in the cultural spots. You know what I'm saying? I'm stepping over dead bodies in the street. Because New Orleans was the murder capital around that time.
Yeah, 92, 93, Fighting
so
was crazy.
New Orleans connected with me initially when I first got here. And I'm giving y'all some context because it kind of is more relevant to how opening up the doors of Refresh became so much easier understanding that, right?
Yes. So,
coming to New Orleans and having a perspective of how people were viewing themselves, right? Specifically in the African American community. And at the time, the only thing that I saw emerging that people could rally around in New Orleans was music, right? And at that time, more specifically, as I was kind of coming up, you had guys in New Orleans that was heavy West Coast or heavy East Coast, and you had like the little bounce scenes and all that. And then we had like this little pocket of hip hop culture. Mac and Storm, DJ WAP. My crew was called Transparent Arsenal, so it was like Wu-Tang Clan-esque type. They had poetry night and all this stuff going on in the city of New Orleans. A lot of people don't understand that era of the city because you guys were just too young to even be a part of it. But you fast forward and you see the era when I left New Orleans and was working in the music industry. I left New Orleans in 97, 98-ish. And like I said, I still left here. I was the only, me and maybe one other guy had dreads. Came back. Well, when the fuck y'all start wearing dreads in New Orleans, right? I'm touring. I'm like,
yeah. And
it was hood dudes, but I really appreciated the fact that, they're still embracing the culture, right? No matter, what their position is in the community. Hey, you showing up like you are, right? Yeah. I got dreads. This how you gonna see me. So me coming from the era when I was the only person doing that, to coming back to the city and saying, all right, I'll take progression however it comes. That's how I am, right? I'll deal with the guy that don't understand fully, but he's willing to step into that frame and be like, yeah, this is me. And that's that for me to see that, and let's say that was like about 2000-ish, right? To see that happen in the city of New Orleans, I was like, man, that's growth, right? And that all birthed from the era of No Limit and Cash Money, right? So when P really kind of like stepped out and put New Orleans on the map musically, to see the locals really embrace, man, we represented, right? It was a big shift, right? It was subtle, but it was big, right? It wasn't like something that you're gonna see overnight and shit was just gonna pop off. It took 2 generations for that seed to be planted, to Cash Money come in, all of that era of music, the Lil Waynes, everybody that was from that whole Cash Money pocket. Now you moving into the currencies.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying?
Around that time, like almost the backpack era. This 08, 09.
Yeah.
Pharrell is out. Kanye's doing the fucking red Octobers.
Mm-hmm.
All of this is going on. It's almost like a different, like culture has shifted at this point.
Yes.
It's not even.
So it's understanding the ebb and flow of how things move, right?
Yeah.
Everything happens when it's supposed to happen, right? So you had a tragic, life-changing experience with Katrina, right? And in some ways, people can argue me about this. It almost feels like it was necessary for it to happen, because in order for New Orleans to grow, it had to be taken all the way down, and because you understanding New Orleans and living here, there's these oligarchs, right? These old people that's kind of in the way, but they want to help, but they really don't know how to just get out the way, right? And you got these kids like, well, we can do it better, that have been suppressed by respecting the elders and understanding that there's history and heritage related to all these things. So it's like, well, I ain't trying to be disrespectful, but at the same time, there's a better way.
Yeah, facts.
Right? So pushing past all that, Katrina allowed these kids to challenge their personal perspective and challenge the reality that was being presented to them all of these years. Going away and coming back, you can't unsee something once you see it. You can't unexperience something that you may have touched, in some shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah.
So me coming from New York, raised in the South, I always understood how to connect those two worlds, right? How to connect the world of, well, y'all don't really know, but man, look, let me show you something, right? I've done that with you. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And this is
gonna talk about that.
and this is just who I am as a person. I understand it, and I always try to honor people and meet them where they're at. Challenging the status quo, no matter where I'm at, and understanding how to dynamically engage with people in a way that they're embracing not just what's happening here, but they're embracing their own power.
Well, like I said, like this. What Refresh did for me, when I first started DJing, I knew I wanted to do something in the city that was basically my own vision, not just DJing, but add something to the city. And at the time, I'm gonna say at the time when I was working on a project, I was working on a project. It was I was working on a project. My first recorded project.
Was this during the Lemonhead era?
This was after Lemonheads, because when I was with Lemonheads, I had just started. But by the time I got to Sarah, the EP at the art gallery.
Oh, Sarah was epic.
Yeah, when I did Sarah, I was like, what happened was I started seeing people coming to the city, and I was like, I was already DJing, and I started seeing other DJs come behind me, and people wasn't differentiating the concept of the artistry. So I was like, I got to do something that's going to really get people fucking attention. I just can't fucking come out here and say I'm about to just play records. It got to be a whole thing. So when I did the Sarah thing, that was like right before Lil Jodeci, and all of that shit shifted at one time. But I'm gonna tell you this, I had conceptualized how I wanted to like introduce myself in the community, because I knew Refresh had a stronghold on counterculture, and I was like, I'm doing something, and I know I could speak to these kids, but I need to get the people attention. So Sarah was that, and that's when I think me and you met after Sarah, because I don't know who told you to come to that shit at all.
And for the audience, when Cav is saying counterculture, he's really saying progressive culture.
Yeah.
So don't take it in a negative context. You got a challenge to progress. So
Yeah, counterculture is important to culture. Period. You
Yeah.
know, representing something that hasn't been represented in the city.
Well, you know we doing Sade this year for Set Gala, and she said something. It was a clip. She said like this year. She said something. She said my voice is anti. I'm just like the anti and antithesis of what a woman's supposed to sound like. And you know what I'm saying? My thing with counterculture is something that's just like against the fucking grain. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's against the grain. And in New Orleans, me not playing bounce and trying to do electronic music at the time was just against the grain. And I'm not saying I was reinventing the wheel. We just saying I was doing something that I just went out on a limb and just said, you could take this lane or you could just do your own lane and figure it out. And I always chose to do my own lane. And that's really what I learned at Refresh, because I feel like Refresh was, I would say it was, what's your first 4 years of college? Before you get your master's and shit.
Undergrad.
Refresh is like undergrad for motherfuckers in culture. You had to come through there.
So many people met there. Like, people I know now that were like, yeah, me and so met at Refresh back then. I was kind of like, damn, like, I was there at the same time and I didn't even know y'all.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like people like today I meet, like, yeah, we met here, then we did this crazy thing. You know, it's like so much was sprouted from that time and that place, you know?
I don't want to.
Especially if you're under 21.
No, but I'm going to keep answering your question, though, right? So the time that I knew Refresh was special was literally the day we opened the doors. And from day one for the next 2 years, the question that everybody asked when they came in from the city was like, yo, are y'all really staying here? Like, is this really...
It's a pop-up?
Yeah, is this a pop-up? I'm like, nah, man, we really here. And to see the expressions on their face, like, man, we got something.
Yeah.
Right?
Finally.
And it took some people like 2 or 3 times to come back. Man, y'all really here. Man.
This is a prank.
This is
like a
crazy.
hidden camera thing.
Right? And mind you, it was also like it wasn't, well, at first, it wasn't this pretentious space where you came in and we stood behind the counter and,
judging you?
You know, it'd be the most randomest moments that we would have at the store, right? Man, look, let's go get some bottles of Moet and Don. We just gonna pop it, right? So people pull up seeing us popping just Cristal, Don, whatever. They like, man, you want some? Look, get a glass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, mind you, I came from working in the music industry.
Yeah.
So we popping that wasn't really nothing.
Yeah,
you know
it was just what the vibe was.
And that whole era really was the bottle popping era. Like that was, we was out.
I'm still
there was
in
bottles,
mine.
sections. That's what we did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people, that was just an extension of what we were already doing in the club, right? So it was just different to see it outside of a club, but in a space that was cool.
Well,
right.
Also, nightlife was different in the city at that time.
A lot different.
Yeah, nightlife had a little bit more. It was a little bit more structured at that time too. We had somewhat of a club scene. Club scenes don't really exist right now.
Nah.
It's a different.
When's the last time you got bottle service?
Last time I had bottle service. Last time I had bottle service actually was when I was in Paris this last time. Me, Jelani, shouts out to Jelani.
Oh, Jelani out in Paris?
And Buckles. Edward Buckles, shouts out to Buck. We went to the Kid Super after party, and we got to the door, and dude was like, "Well, you can buy a section you get in right now." So it was just 3 of us, so we just bought the section. So we were popping bottles in Paris.
Is it better in Paris? The bottle services.
Paris
the
it's not a thing. I mean, if I had to describe Paris in a nutshell, it's like this bad chick that's really not superficial, but she just chill, but she's not really impressed by much.
Right. That's my type.
Yeah. Oh, that's your type?
That's my type. Not impressed by me.
It's about bottle service. You think that's dead? Do you think it's dead?
I'm keeping it alive myself, dude.
Because I'm gonna tell you why I'm asking. Because I had this concept called Big Ballers Dance Club, and we do it at the Rabbit Hole, where we have like 2 tiers. We got one downstairs, and upstairs is like VIP. We serve Popeye's chicken. We got like a stripper upstairs.
That's the VIP Popeye's chicken?
It's Popeye's chicken. We got fruits. Vic put out a whole like fruits and trays of shit.
Okay, all right.
It's nice shit.
Yeah, they have
But
fruits.
it's like you got to come upstairs. It's all like we got one stripper pole and it's all like sectioned off. So it's like it's basically my take on bottle service because like a lot of people think dance music is some cheap shit. You feel me? So it's like, but I'm realizing like a lot of people don't even know how to from this era don't even know how to engage in that.
But I think the whole thing about the bottle service era and bottle table section era, it was definitely real pretentious. Like,
Yeah.
it,
You know what the problem was?
Now you got people pouring bottles out.
it was more like, all right, say for me, it was just something I did. But for the mass majority of people that did, it was a flex. Like,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So like, right, more recently, you'll see bottle service, they got the flares and the whole sign and all that.
See,
right?
that's bullshit to me.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, if I get bottle service,
Yeah.
like, no,
Don't
look,
do all that.
I don't need the fireworks.
Yeah.
Just bring the bottle.
I don't want the alcohol. I only want fireworks.
And maybe that's the old school, like when I come up, come on, you like a spotlight.
Yeah, you put me on blast.
They got the bread over there, man. Like,
We should rob them later.
there you go, Tucker. You know what
Those
it
are
is.
my former.
Well, and talking about the flex thing, what the theme is now is just pouring bottles out in the section. You
No,
see
that's
that?
just that's some Texas
That's
shit.
like that's some Texas shit.
That's-
But
I like
I saw
that.
that the other day. I was like, what the?
I'm into
nobody-
that.
What is even?
Nobody co-signing that shit.
You know what the problem was with the rabbit hole?
It's an homage to pour one out for the homies.
Right.
Well,
I'm
I-
assuming.
Yeah.
I don't think
it's
it's
called.
I think they're
it's called
just
trauma.
showing they're flexing
Nah.
that they got cash.
See?
So
it's
what it
pretentious.
is
It's still a
what it
flex.
is they got a group of niggas over here
Yeah,
and a
they
group
just-
over here, and
yeah.
they just who can pull out the most bottles.
I love it, dude.
That shit
Oh,
wax.
it's
Yeah.
so nuts.
Capital Volume 1.
Yeah.
The problem with rabbit hole is I think you want to be in the VIP with the section. You want to be in the same space as everybody else, so you can like look down upon them. I think when you're a separate space,
when you're
you
separate,
don't have
like
any
nobody-
peons to look down upon.
Nobody know you.
You know
Well,
what
they
I'm
got the
saying?
TV
You want to
shows,
let them
right?
eat cake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's the draw for me.
The bottle section thing. I remember one of the last moments we was like, when I'm saying the crew, right? Like the core crew.
The
we
boys.
was at on St. Charles.
It's me, you, Jay-Z.
We was at what was
Pussy
the name of that
Posse?
spot?
I know what you're talking about. The one with the windows.
The
one with the open
red-
windows?
not
Oh,
the red-
Eiffel?
We at the red
Eiffel
Eiffel.
Tower.
We was
Was
at
it
Eiffel.
Eiffel?
Yeah, Eiffel used to be popping.
Bring
And we
back
was
that.
at Eiffel, right? So it was me, everybody right? And we had a section in there, and my previous business partner's wife was in a section. She knew all
First
this shit,
mistake.
right? So dude had asked Lou, "Yo, man, you think I get a drink, right?" And I've always thought it was like a week for a dude to ask another dude for a drink. She's like, "What? Like, you're not even with us, but you asked for a drink." So I told Lou, man, just tell dude to just
Put me on.
pause for a second,
Yeah,
right? Now, mind you, we deep.
yeah.
So dude paused for a second, right? Turned around, grabbed the bottle,
Yes. This is how we met, actually.
grabbed the bottle off the table. But the girl grabbed him like,
What did she say?
"What the fuck are you doing?" Before any of us could get to her, she was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
It's called socialism, dude.
Right? So I told Lou, I said, "Man, what's up with your man?" He was so embarrassed, right? But at that moment, I'm like, man, this is that, for me. I was
Beyond
like,
disrespect.
this is it's too much, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's the part where, and at that time, the envy was starting to set in,
Yeah, facts.
right? So what we were doing naturally now is becoming more of a thing that was like, it's always this threshold, right? It's a delicate balance. If you know hood shit and you know avant-garde shit, right?
Yeah.
So when you skirting that fence, you got to understand what that means when certain things happen, right? It's either just like total disrespect, or it's just like, yo, dude just want to get in that bad. Either way it go is bad, right?
Scary in the hose.
So I'm more in this phase right now. A mixologist, fresh mixes, serve me some different shit. I don't want to drink out the same bottle, right? Because then you had those dudes that were in the club that couldn't get the section.
Yeah.
But it's like 6 of them sharing a bottle.
Oh, that's
really,
yeah,
you can only get like 4, 5. You know what I mean? The bottle all cloudy and dirty. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
fingerprints on it, you know?
Man, that one bottle done been through it, bro.
Yeah, that's not a vibe.
You know what I mean? This feel like the bottle been violated by all kind of dudes.
And,
you know what I mean?
And someone just picks up and drinks it right at the bottle, and you're like,
Yeah,
I don't know where
it's
your
just
lips
like,
have
yo,
been.
is there anything left in
Right.
here? But like, yo, man, you just see your man just slob the bottle
Right.
down before you.
Right.
Like, come on, bro. Like,
Yeah, I hate that.
just go get a drink.
I hate when that happens to me.
You know what I mean? So that was like the thing where for me it was starting to get like that. Dudes holding cloudy bottles, dirty bottles, empty bottles, and this is like, come on, bro.
Taking a picture with an empty bottle, you know?
Stand in front of the section with your
Yeah.
bottle. Like,
Look,
yo,
hey, you can snap me up real
if
quick,
we had
bro?
that bottle.
Yeah.
You can snap me up for Facebook.
You had the $50 bottle of Hennessy.
Instagram wasn't even out yet. You know?
But you know,
Right.
that also was getting dudes chicks too. Like it was working for them. Oh, all right, girl, you got a bottle.
Women love corny dudes.
Yeah.
That's why I get so much play.
So I mean, to answer your question about the bottle popping era, I mean, I think it's still relevant, but I think it's also like the part of it that kind of makes it pretentious is I spent $10,000 on this section, right? And you know, it's like this is my force field in space in the spot. Nobody can come past that rope.
Right.
It's just
Well,
like,
it's more is stunting still relevant because honestly, what changed? It's not that because really the stunting changed because really the bottle service was stunting, and now kids stunting differently. They stunt on Instagram instead of on TikTok, and so honestly, that's a good perspective because I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Because like. What Chill said on the phone today, you can't be chasing ghosts of Christmas past. You know what I'm saying? Trying to recreate something that happened in the past. You got to kind of be moving in the future.
yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Cause for me, flexing is a party with everything. You pay to get in, you get all you want. That's the spot.
That's the real
Someone
vibe.
should just buy out every section in the club and just let anyone in it, you know?
That's
but
the
that so in the music industry, you know, when I worked at Def Jam, you know, we would literally pull up and just buy the bar out for 2-3 hours, right? And the whole energy shifts because nobody's like fighting to get to the bar.
Right.
Let me get that bottle. It's just like we all in here we can have access to everything.
Yeah.
Right? And the energy shifts because it's like when I was doing the events at the store, right?
Yeah.
You got premium. It wasn't no well. It was premium everything, right?
No, that was a whole era.
So open niggas, you know, and let me use that phrase. Niggas did not understand the concept of an open bar. It's like, what do you mean? About a year doing this.
You want me a Venmo?
Yeah.
It's like, so what you mean the bar's open? What is that? So what exactly does that mean? So no free drinks? Oh, the drinks are free? Yeah. Yeah, just oh, all right. And literally when I first started doing those events, people were nervous about going to the bar. Look,
no, you could get that.
yeah, man, look, man, it's a drink.
You could get that.
You know what I'm saying? Literally,
Yeah.
like, so that concept in New Orleans was foreign, right? And I'm not saying totally foreign, but in the context of what was happening at the store,
We invented free drinks.
it's just
you know?
like
Well,
it's like what y'all giving out free Hennessy? Like who?
And then
who does that?
Fashion might be art.
You got to associate
Free
that
Moet?
with
Free?
that. It's young black niggas doing it too. Like Shawn was relatively young to say this position he was in on Decatur. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like
North Peters.
Yeah,
North Peters.
North Peters. No, a lot of people don't see
Look,
that.
look, this is a running joke.
Upper Decatur.
Everybody from New Orleans,
It's Decatur.
it's Decatur. It don't matter if it's North Peters. In Decatur, it's North Peters.
Right.
So it's like it's backwards. I'm like, I know you from New Orleans when you say it's Decatur.
You know,
Go ahead.
like what the hell I was saying? Like that thinking. What I'm gonna say is this. Like with me, like I would say this. A lot of times, I find myself as a forward thinker in the city. Like I did shit before a lot of people. But Shawn would tell me shit, and I wouldn't get it till 5 or 6 years later. And this happened a couple of times. I wanted to call you about, like especially with
You was right.
especially even with the Vice shit, like especially because like what I'm thinking about doing now. I think I told you this like a year ago. I was like, you know what, you was right about. We should have just fucking did our own documentary. And now I'm thinking about just doing a documentary myself now because it's like, you know, you can't see it. So how is this? This is what I want to ask. How is it knowing you could see the future and that everybody else can't see it, right? How do you navigate that? Like, oh, I could see what's going to happen in 3 or 4 years, but the city has to catch up to the process of what I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah, so I think that all comes from my childhood. I'm from Brooklyn originally. Me and my mom left Brooklyn when I was 4.5, 5. Lived in Florida, and I grew up away from both sides of my family, pretty much my whole life, and navigating through what that looks like for me was anytime I move, I knew I don't have to fight somebody because I'm the new kid, and you know what I mean. That's just what comes with that era of being that new kid. And I was by myself. I didn't have any family. Blah blah blah. But as I got older, I learned how to navigate in the world and identifying those people that are problematic, and now understanding how I can now align with them. Right.
Yeah.
So, in the context of, and I'm getting off track. What was the question you asked me?
Well, it was like it's more about like being ahead, being a thought leader in the community.
Yeah. So
and navigating that.
So with that, you understand. You get disciplined. I'm a very disciplined person. Probably overly disciplined. To be totally honest with you, in some aspects. But when I was 18, 19, I started kind of having revelations about my viewpoint in the world as coming from a child to now becoming an adult. And I understood at an early age that I can tell somebody at that time in their 40s that their truth is really not truth. But seeing the fear in their eyes helped me understand they needed to understand. They needed to keep intact their understanding of their truth.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I could run around and be like, oh, you're wrong. But is it wrong to take away somebody's whole system of belief?
Yeah.
Because I know more? That doesn't make me better because I understand it differently. So I kind of understood early on that honoring people where they're at, right? It's just like a kid, right? You know, you don't expect a 2-year-old to understand quantum physics, right? It's just like, well, but they understand some aspects of it. Like,
Yeah.
So you adaptively nurture the things that they identify with, right? Organically, whether it's DJing, whether it's producing, whatever, and you try to show up and cultivate that part, right? Like, all right, well, I want you to focus on this. Nah, man, I'm gonna go do all that. All right, cool, but for right now, in this moment, let's just do this right here, right? So I think it's just me understanding human nature, right? We all want better, right? Everybody that I know that has gone through with your epiphanies, right? Like 5 years later, you're like, damn, man, he was really telling me something, right? But it happens in your own time.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think the fact that, and going back to the essence of the story, is like it happened in its own time. It happened when it was needed, right? So honoring that and seeing the growth before Refresh, seeing the growth after Katrina, so it was all of these moments of insertion, understanding that ebb and flow of of progression, right? We may not want it. We may not get everything we want at the time we want it, but it's going to happen, right? Like everything's going to change. And I guess the most frustrating thing for me is like knowing how powerful we are when it's in that moment. I'm saying it, it's like, God damn it! It's almost like it's $10 million in front of me, right? And that one person got to say one word. It can come to all of us.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like, fuck, man, just 10 million just walked away.
I just had a question. I asked them before this, and I'm gonna get into some other shit. If you had, what I told y'all, if you had this the thing. If you get $100 grand, I could give you $100 grand right now, or you could get a coin flip for $10 million. Which one would you take?
I would do the coin flip.
Yeah, me too.
Because like the 100 million,
the 100 grand.
100 grand. I mean, that ain't. I mean, from my perspective, that's nothing.
Yeah.
But if I can flip, if it is only two things that can happen.
Yeah.
Yes or no. Right.
That's the 10 million.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Right. But I can still walk away with the perspective that I can make 100. I can make 100.
You can make 100.
You can make 100.
But that 10, man, you can hold that.
So,
I mean, that 100,000, you can hold that.
Yeah, I don't need that either.
me and Shawn relationship goes so far back, and it's so kind of like nuanced. So I'm gonna say this: there's so many things from the city, so many errors that came out of Refresh as well. And I'm saying all this so the audience kind of know. I usually don't talk straight to the audience. I don't break the third wall, but today we're going to do that shit. There's so many real errors that came out of that, from the Like Sushi, the fucking free water, Pink Room. Even before that, when Wayne them was doing another fucking error. There was so many errors that came out of it, and then all of these little kids of it.
I mean, like I was having a conversation with Larry, because a lot of people know Larry had a little clothing line called Chump Change.
I remember when Larry used to come in the store.
Oh, yeah, he was coming to the store since he was 16.
Yeah.
So when you like speaking on this, right, and it's really more of an appreciation. I think you kind of touched on the pre-show.
Yeah.
All of the boutiques in there. Well, let's start with the boutiques in the French Quarter right now, right?
Yeah.
So that
name names.
I know all y'all 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old think that's like always been the thing, but it has not. That is really new. There was no boutiques in the French Quarter.
Not at all.
So to see the surgence of businesses that jockeying for position now in the quarter, it's beautiful, but just know that wasn't happening before the movement of Refresh, to be totally honest with you. But and when you kind of look into these stores, they got the same aesthetic makeup.
Oh yeah. I'll pass a new one every day.
So I was talking to Larry, and I really was thinking about. He was like, I've been in the store since he was 16. I'm like, damn, man. Everybody got a Refresh toy. Rob 49 got a Refresh toy. Man, my cousin brought me in here when I was 10, right? Like the stories just come. Man, I met A$AP Rocky, and it changed my life.
The first show I did, the first DJ set I did way before Sarah was I DJ'd the A$AP Rocky show. Mm-hmm. Wayne them called me, I DJ'd the A$AP Rocky show. This was like 2010. Mm-hmm. I remember that show. You know what I'm saying?
Where was that at?
At Refresh.
A$AP Rocky perform at Refresh?
Nah,
like
we did 2 in-stores with A$AP. The first one I think we DJ'd.
Yeah.
The second one, it went a little rogue.
Was he kind?
No, he was cool people. Actually, we had this thing in the back of the store where everybody would come in and sign the wall.
Right.
And A$AP's is still up there.
Yeah.
It's fading, but.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When you were at Def Jam, how close were you to the fighting video game projects?
The who?
The fighting games. Remember Def
I
Jam?
don't know nothing about.
You know nothing about that, bro? Hey,
You talking about Vendetta?
You hold
About the video
Vendetta,
game?
fight
You
for
talking
New
about
York.
Vendetta, yeah.
I know you're holding out, dude.
Nah.
I know you got the secret gamer knowledge, dude.
My video game era began in Atari,
Right.
and it ended with Metal Gear Solid in 1997.
That was a good. That was a
classic.
good game.
That's a classic.
Metal Gear is awesome.
That's quite
that
the
was
progression.
that my video game era began in.
You know,
Yeah,
you don't be on Fortnite.
nothing. I
You don't do the Fortnite dances.
I don't play no.
You
Video
get on
game.
Fortnite, bro.
I don't own a video game system.
Bro, they got the weekend on Fortnite now.
Nah, bro, I don't know nothing about that.
You gotta fuck with it, dude. They got Rick. You can play as Rick Owens in Fortnite.
That actually is a classic. But yeah, we was talking about going through them eras, and it's how you feel about that. Like, how you feel about like seeing all these shit blossom? Because like even like, I mean,
So to be honest with you, Cav, like, as an individual, right? Just being totally honest, you go through these retrospective moments where I've had moments where I'm like, man, y'all being disrespectful, right? And then I have moments where I'm like, well, it's only natural for somebody to understand it. Like if I inspired you enough, or we inspired you enough to feel like you can own something,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
On one side of it, it's like, well, damn, that's powerful.
yeah.
But on the other side of it, it's just like, well, damn, nigga, I'll smack the shit out of you, right? but being disciplined, right?
Yeah.
Understanding that growth is about the challenge, right? It's about the things that you plant, and you gotta see. I can plant a seed and grow a tree, but I can't control where the leaves go and
No, that's
how it
facts.
move
That's
and,
facts.
You know what I'm saying? If the roots gonna get up under something it don't need to be under, right? I gotta appreciate the fact that it's a tree, right? So those aspects of it, or the nuances of it, are really relative to even those people that are on the other side of that, understanding that, when you make this move, that like something's going to change, right? And that's just a reality of and I'm saying amongst men, it's like those you cross a certain line, just I can respect it, but it ain't no coming back from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think those are the things that, from a generational perspective, right? Like, for me, I mean, somebody crossed me, that's it, right? And I'm not gonna say I'm gonna run around here and every time I see you, it's gonna be a problem, but I'm not gonna acknowledge, or embrace. You know what I'm saying? But for generations and people that are a little different, they embrace it. Like they'll make up and it's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. But I come from an era where snitches in the ditches.
Yeah.
You just there's just certain things. And when you think about this culturally, right? Like from a global perspective, when you think about language, the Japanese language with the Arabic language, anything outside of English, it's really definitive conversations. There's no maybe in the conversation. It's like yes or no, right? We gonna chop his hand off or not? He stole something.
No
it ain't
facts.
like, oh man, let me think about
It's
it. Like,
binary.
no, it's yes. You know what I mean? Like, so when you think about language and how definitive that is, you also got to understand that those things are very necessary in the preservation and honoring the respect of what came before you, right? So, in all of these diverse cultural backgrounds, the challenge is how do we push past the very distinct lines, right? And now how do we blur that and then fit into our culture? And I think one part of it is inevitable, right? It's going to change. People are going to push past it. But the other part of it is that you still have to honor the past, present, to build the future. And I think those are the things that people are looking for when they look in the past. It's just like, well, what happened back then that helped us move forward, right? And the one thing that in any culture is all about discipline.
Do you so like Pink Room is my family, right? Like we still, all of us kind of still talk, or we still tap in with each other, and we low key reminisce about everything that happened in that time because it was such a special time. For me, sometimes you know how much music we was making at that time, and I go back and listen to it, not regrettably, but sometimes I'm just like, damn, there was real opportunities to do something so special. You ever regret? Do you ever feel regret for anything that transpired in like the last, what's what it is? It's almost coming on 15 years now.
16
years now. In that time.
Oh yeah. I mean, but regret with the context of understanding that where I'm at right now with the store. Don't get me wrong. We've gone through COVID, and that's changed so much.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think nobody ever could be prepared for what just happened.
No, fuck no.
In this post-COVID era, it's just another. I think it's worse now than it was actually when everybody was sitting at home. Because
I can see that.
because like it's easy to well, for me it wasn't easy. But it was easy for everybody else to sit down. Like when I was still traveling, when all this was going on, I went to Paris right when they was getting ready to shut everything. My normal pace was I'm here 2-3 days out the week, I'm gone for the rest, right?
Yeah.
So anytime I was going to Paris, I would kind of like ramp up my travel to get things done. And then I'm just dropping my bag off and going to Paris.
Yeah.
And the reality in him, I had some appointments in Paris, and I'm like, hold up, where? I think this is the right address. Oh man, we didn't come because of COVID. Like what? This shit in China? I'm like, what do you mean, right? Like,
yeah.
So I was like, wow, I'll make me a little vacation of this, right?
Yeah.
Then the reality set in more. It's like, well, they talking about shutting down the borders. So I had to bump my flight to get back. But I don't think nobody could prepare themselves for what happened. And two things happened during COVID for me. It's probably the first time since I was 19 years old I was ever set anywhere for more than 5 days, right?
Yeah.
Which is so different for me. And creating the opportunity and space to really understand how I move life forward, right? And I think that's the most challenging part, right? Because now I got to sit with myself in my head and really deal with and push forward. Not to say it wasn't happening, right? But to be able to be still and present and be like, wow, yeah, that can work, this can work, that's not gonna work, this makes sense, that doesn't make sense, right? When things work themselves out, but to be in that moment and sit and be still, it changed a lot for me, right? My appreciation, it changed, it helped me appreciate more of what I was able to do outside of needing, or not necessarily needing, I've never needed anybody, but in the context of what we rely on in society, right?
Yeah.
And being self-reliant or self-preserving and understanding that mechanism, like, all right, well, that ain't here, I can make that happen. It's not gonna. I can make this happen. I can facilitate making that happen. So I don't regret anything because everything prepares you for those moments.
Yeah.
And my 47 years of living, I can only imagine with a 20. I'm gonna say 20. I'm gonna say late 20s, early 30s, because you're coming out of that era of, all right, life is just fun, to shit, I gotta be responsible, right?
Yeah.
So
It fucking sucks, dude.
So all that contextually, right? Then me, I'm always looking the past, present, and future. So I'm looking at the 20. So now the 30-year-old, the late 20s, early 30-year-old people stress the fuck out, right?
Yeah.
Definitely people in their 40s and 50s stress the fuck out. Like, man, what the fuck? Trump, fuck, like Biden, fuck them, like whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody's fucking everybody, right?
Yeah.
Vaccines.
They didn't do the right thing, right?
I'm just kidding.
But the
Or am I?
20-year-old kid don't know nothing beyond
Yeah.
being 20.
Yeah.
So they out here like,
It's wilding
man,
out.
what you talking about?
This is how it is.
This what's happening now.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, this is what the fuck happening now, right? Like, why am I stressed the fuck out about some shit that's already happening?
Well,
So you got to put it in. I'm putting everything in context. So regret. Nah, I don't. I don't regret anything. I do understand. Like, look at the dog, right? He don't understand nothing about what we talking about. His whole existence is being present.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes we gotta just be present and pay attention.
Well,
Tap in when you need to tap in, and then understand. Like, I'm a very self-reliant person, right? If I'm asking somebody for help, I must really need it, because I'm gonna exhaust every possible scenario before I ask for anything, right? But for people that may not be so self-reliant, it can be very challenging. So I don't have any regrets.
How do you?
My challenges are more so now is burdening myself with the answers. Does that make sense to you?
burdening yourself with answers, coming up with the answers.
Is that like?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no. I was just gonna say, is that like kind of learning from, instead of regret, like learning from the past where you might have made a different decision and then acting on that now?
Yeah. So I think we all have had moments where something that may have happened 15, 16, 20 years ago, like, man, what the fuck was I thinking about back then, right?
Yeah.
And you're in a moment where you're like, well, why am I thinking about that now? So those references are moments where we're supposed to be taking something from that past experience and adapting it to the now, right?
And using it now.
Right?
Yeah.
It may be embarrassing in our own personal thoughts and feelings, but it's just like, well, fuck, all right, well, the lesson is, all right, what do I do now? Right? So all of my engagements, all of my frustrations, all of my disappointments, I use as tools to help me build a better house, a better car, a better space. I think the challenges for me is the world not really fully understanding the scope, depth, and scale of what's happening. And that's really because I care too much.
When me and you talk, we rarely talk about like the state of the culture. Is always something more introspective, and I think that's what I always appreciated. When COVID happened, this after Pink Room, like Brandon was in New York, Hakeesh was in LA. You know what I'm saying? We kind of had dissipated at this point. My ex was gone, and Setdeflo was kind of going on. And Setdeflo was blossoming around COVID. It was like, oh shit, I finally figured it all the way out. And I'm also not relying on bringing together a group of kids or my homies with me. It's kind of just me right now. And like you said, COVID happened, and I'm like, fuck. I just figured it out, and now what the fuck I'm gonna do? Because I rely on people, engagements,
yeah.
and that just
that's your business.
That's my business is people, and that went away. Literally, I don't know if you know how well you know Vic, but I met Vic in LA during COVID. You know what I'm saying? And we've been building Setdeflo together for the last 7 months now, and I'm just getting it back 4 years later. Like 4 years later from when I had it, and like you starting all over, it's almost gut wrenching. You know what I'm saying? When you think about it, then this one, and I say it about regret with Pink Room, it's more like, damn, when I look back on it, but I've learned so much from it, and I learned so much about just communication. Growing as an artist, just being a fucking artist, to be real with you, because as crazy as that time was, how brilliant Brandon and how brilliant Hakeesh is, you know what I'm saying?
All of y'all.
Still is.
I mean, not to cut you off, but, when I first reached, we first tapped in, right? When I first, yo, Cav, this is what I'm trying to do, right? And this is when I was, because you met me right when I was transitioning the store in the real way, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was more questions for everybody than answers, right? And I was totally clear on what the fuck was happening. Nobody couldn't tell me anything other, right? And I think I remember the first time I came to your spot and you and Brandon was over at, I'm like, man, all right, what y'all doing? Y'all played all this music for me. I'm like, all right, so what's happening next with the shit? I'm like, oh yeah, we just in here. I'm like, all right, well, what the fuck does that mean? Like, this is something, y'all want to be artists, but y'all really was just in a tunnel. I mean, in a cave, just
cranking shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Doing cave runs.
You know, for me, it was just like, well, this is great. I think it's amazing. I like the fact that y'all created this creative space to morph your perspective in musical form, right? But where does that go from here, right? And I think that was kind of got the wheels spinning, right? And at the time, Hakeesh, who I mentored at the time, was back and forth between New York and, you know what I mean? I think he tapped in with y'all, which it all aligned in some weird way, right?
Yeah, we just connected, like, really.
So I think we talked about this earlier, like people trying to recreate the Pink Room, but this fucking impossible. Like, there's no fucking way in the world that. But this goes off for the whole context of what we were saying earlier. Is like, I'm seeing that, but people are like, they don't really understand the nuance that was involved in that, right? Mm-hmm. The connective tissue, right, and also the volatility in it.
Oh, it's mad volatile.
Right? So for me, being the OG, right, in that equation, it was very frustrating, right? Because for one, I understood everybody's value, right? But nobody at the time really understood their whole position, which is fine. Y'all all were young. It was a lot of raw energy. It was more questions than answers. And the culmination of what became the Pink Room was so vibrant and raw that y'all didn't know how to control it.
So let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. Because I feel like I had a vision of it. Like, this is how I equate that shit. I equate it like a fucking rocket ship. You know how the rocket ship put all these jet fuel packs on it? And I knew, so we'll be at the store. Me and Brandon will be at the store. Me, Brandon, and Hakeesh will be at the store talking shit all day. And we'll get to my house because everybody was staying with me at the time. And we'll just be fussing about what we wanted to do, like
stupid
all
night.
night
Y'all be fussing
till 4 in the morning.
Y'all be such.
And I'm like, yo, I say, bro, I
remember.
I remember one time I sat back and I said, no, we not gonna make it that far. Like, I said this to myself, but I said this. I said, I just want to get to orbit. Like, I just want to stay on this ship long enough so we could get popping enough where we could, because I already knew what the fuck we was doing.
Yeah, but the reality for me was there was no money even in the equation. Y'all motherfuckers was just going crazy.
There was no money.
There was well, what the fuck gonna happen when some real money come through, right? So when y'all did the whole little the Marlboro thing, right?
Oh yeah, with
and I had negotiated,
yeah,
dudes trying to dumb y'all down. I'm like, man, no, bro. And then I think around the same time,
it was no money.
Vice,
it was like $700.
That's what they were trying to offer you, but you wind up getting
ridiculous.
what, like 3,000?
Yeah, they only gave us $3,000.
But
it was. I mean, I had no money at the time, so we took that.
No, but I'm saying what they initially offered, because at that point in time, you got me involved.
Yeah.
And I spoke to the producer, and I was like, nah, bro, that ain't gonna happen. You need his equipment too? No, you gonna have to rent that. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that was another check.
Facts.
But the point I'm trying to make is, like, even the whole Vice thing, and I'm like, no, don't let Vice control the content, because you giving up.
Right.
The whole thing, right? That's the whole thing. And I told you at the time, I was like, Vice wants.
Yeah, he told us.
All Vice wants was all they wanted was content. Well, if you want content, you're gonna have to pay for that.
Yeah. Fucking right.
So you don't just get this for free.
Yeah.
And think that you're gonna now molest me. You know, right? Like, they still own the rights to that music to infinity. Right? If I remember reading that contract right, through the universe.
That shit's still up on YouTube right now.
And y'all can't say nothing about it.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They can use it in whatever form, shape, morph. Like they go to Mars and you hear your shit. Nah, man, that's me, but I ain't got no rights to this shit.
Yeah, back to yeah.
So, but you got to understand energetically. For me, having worked in the music industry, when you're at your rawest, when you're at your purest, most vibrant form, like it happened to Prince, it happened to Michael Jackson. All these great musicians that just wanted to do great music, right? Mm-hmm. That's what innately is who they are. But when you sign these contracts, energetically, you're giving up more than just your music, right? So I understood all of the things y'all was going through, right? The plight to be successful, the plight to be heard, the plight to be respected. You know what I mean? Everybody wanted just that, right? And on a simple, really rudimentary level, right?
Yeah.
And all that culminated into y'all just fussing for fucking 5-6 hours about
it was just passionate.
who ate the motherfucking ham and bologna sandwich in the fucking refrigerator.
Oh my god!
Nah, it was.
Hey, that was my bologna. Okay?
Yo, it was.
Hit me back for
It was nut ass conversations, and I'm talking about every day. It got to a point. It got so bad at one time. Me and Brandon wasn't even talking, and we were standing each other. He was staying with me. Mm-hmm. He was staying with me. I mean, Brandon, my brother, and I just seen him when I was in New York like a couple of months ago, earlier this year. Mm-hmm. But like, I love all of them like brothers because they taught me so much, and even you taught me so much. Shawn was the first person who brought me to New York, and then I ain't even seen the subway till I went to New York for the third time. Because the first couple times I went with Shawn. I was like, oh, fuck, we was just Ubering everywhere. We was just like seeing the city, and
Did I teach you anything, Kev?
it did teach me some shit.
Did I teach you anything?
Yeah, you taught me. You're a savant when it comes to music. So I pick up on everything from everybody. Mm-hmm. But what I would say though is, like I said, that shit was college for me. That shit was college because really, the mistakes I made with Pink Room, I didn't make with Setdeflo. You feel me? It was more like, all right. And honestly, Setdeflo was like an offshoot of Pink Room. It was like, all right, we doing Pink Room. It's for the underground, for the rave shit. I want to do some house shit, some sexy shit for a different aesthetic, but it's the same energy. It's coming with the same thing.
But let me ask you a question, Kev. Because, I remember the last Pink Room event was at the Ace, right? And there was some dude, I can't remember where he was at. He came in town. He was at the store. He's like, man, come, people's doing an event at the Ace, right? And I think that's around the time when what's the girl at the Ace?
Sonali?
Nah, not Sonali. The other chick, Jacqueline. Jocelyn.
Yeah.
She was trying to get me involved, and I'm like, nah, I don't want, that whole conversation.
I remember that.
Right, so there was that event. I don't remember what event it was.
Probably it wasn't enough for sale, right?
But
If it was a Pink Room event, it wasn't enough for sale. It probably was the one with Gold Link or some shit.
Yeah,
but it was at the cusp of like right before shit got weird with y'all.
Shit was popping.
Yeah,
it was Gold Link then.
Like that moment, I was like, all right, this is it.
Yeah,
and the like the reason I even engaged with you, I was like, all right, Cab understands it sonically, right? So when I heard you do shit sonically, I was like, all right, Cav, get it.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, all right, this is a piece of this puzzle. So for me, what refreshing, you see that birth from Free Water and Like Sushi. It's always about understanding the cultural or the lifestyle impact, right? And it wasn't just about one particular lifestyle. It was this world of different things, right? And sonically, at the time, I was like, all right, Cav, get it this way. This is the direction I need to. This is the direction that the city needs, right? And people need to understand that this is what they need to be digesting right now, right? And at the time, the first time you came in the store and you were DJing, and at the time you knew Wayne and Cody more than you knew me.
Yeah.
Right? And you was like, I was like, look, it's good, man. Come set up. This is where you're gonna be at. and I think I was in like whole
you
control mode. Like,
yeah,
nah,
you
man,
was
move that shit
shaking
over there. Your Cav, sit up right there, bro. You know, do your thing, da da da. And Cav coming in, you know, he's like, well, all
yeah,
right.
Shawn just threw me in the mix.
Like what?
And he
You know,
had
I'm
some
like,
shit going on.
right? So, but it wasn't even like I didn't know your relational
Yeah.
connective tissue, right?
Yeah.
It was just me seeing you, and I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, Cav, get it. All right, this is what's up. And I was like, man, just do your thing.
Yeah.
He's like, what kind of? I'm like, nah, man, just run it. Just play what you want to fucking play.
Yeah.
And I think that one event we did that weekend for what was that fucking French Quarter Fest?
Yeah, we did do that. We did a
Turned
couple
up.
Yeah.
It was club
That was a
refresh
great
that weekend.
show.
We-
That was a great.
well,
I remember that shit.
We had when we was running the Pink Room shit.
You had the box in there, right?
But
This
that was
before
this
Pink
before the
Room.
pop. This before the box.
This
That's what I'm
before Pink
saying.
Pre-box.
We was running I was just with Shawn. This before Pink Room. I was just rolling with Shawn. Like
You
honestly,
should just kept doing that.
I'm gonna tell you what.
That's where you fucked up right there.
So let
You're right.
me say this before you move forward, Cav.
Yeah.
Now, these kids
So
seem
when
reliable.
Cav came into space, I was on this whole morph of cultural fusion, right?
Yeah, Brandon
So-
wasn't even here yet.
Yeah, Brandon wasn't even a part of this whole thing. So I told Cav, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do this event at the store. It's about the cultural connectivity. And I had put together this flyer, right? And the flyer had a picture of black and white slaves from New Orleans, right? So
Oh
everybody's
yeah, I
like,
remember that.
what the fuck? Like, why you got the flyer with fucking black and white slaves? I said, because we're all connected, right? And everybody was more concerned about the fact that I put a flyer with a black and a white slave on it, right? And I'm like, well, shit,
was
nigga,
Ka-
they
it's
had white
pre-Kanye.
slaves in New Orleans too. Like,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
not get it twisted, bro. Let's tell the whole story. If we're gonna
That's
tell the
right.
truth, tell the whole truth, right? And for me, it was more so about letting people know, look, you can tell your story and experience this too, because there were white slaves, right? Like, it wasn't, nobody was.
But when I bring
oh.
it up at the function, people get mad at me. You know.
So
you know.
So that kind of birthed into some other shit, right? And then the Pink Room came into fruition. And then somebody ran off with the whole not for sale shit. I'm not gonna talk about that.
Me and him got into it some of the times. Let me
Oh
tell
yeah,
you this.
that's right. Yeah.
See, what I think with the Pink Room was, like, it was really the. All right, I'll tell you like this. Wayne and Cody knew design and fashion. Frankie and Marty knew how to do media. I think when we came along, the music side of it, plus it was really touching the people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Frankie and Marty shot my first fucking Sarah shit. It was like people was coming up under with the shit we was doing. It was like, we culminated all three of the aspects of lifestyle. And then we generated that just on an underground wave, like the media, the music. Because I say this, like, this was what Vick's been helping me with, because he's so good at media that, you know, that was a Achilles heel of mine when it was just by yourself. If you don't have nobody to document this shit didn't happen. And we was just doing
That's
Pink Room
yeah,
shit, Rogue.
that's in the now era, yeah.
Yeah. We was just
But
doing Pink Room Rogue.
no, for sure, 100%. Yeah.
And like, and to speak about, because this is what I want to get to. This the real the juxt of this full conversation. To speak about doing shit that wasn't done. Like when I started playing house music, just the house that I was doing 6-7 years ago, there wasn't a night like that outside of Soul Sister. So they ain't never see a young black kid doing it in the community just on some swag shit. It was almost like, well, okay, we don't know what the fuck the vibe is, but these kids are all stamped basically. Refresh stamped them. Everybody around them stamped them. So if they say this is what it's hitting for, this what it's hitting for. And I knew that contextually, like, it don't matter what the fuck we do, we just gonna do it. And people gonna receive it. And now, even when we started nights, there's so many kids throwing their own DJ nights now. The same formula that we did 7 years ago. And I'm like, bro, this shit wasn't, you don't understand that there wasn't a space for that 7 years ago. Now they got people, quote unquote, grifting off it, like making, like, so it's like, the reason we doing Setdeflo, and the reason what I'm looking at it now is expanding in the community. It's like building infrastructure, building real infrastructure here. So now kids can see, okay, you can make money in this ecosystem, and you can make money like, all right, I pay people to come set up Setdeflo.
I'm proud of you.
We doing a radio show.
I'm proud of you.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm proud of you, Cav.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because
that.
the reality for me
Yeah.
was that I thought you would never see that.
Yeah.
And it's less about the kids that's trying to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Like that's irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
Because it's always going to be a watered down version of what that was.
Facts.
Right? So
Facts.
it'll never equal up to what you culminated and what you guys were working towards. As frustrated and as fucking as mad.
Oh
and
yeah.
displaced. Y'all all worry each other, but you got to understand, like, even with me bringing you into the equation, it was about, all right, cool. Yeah, all these things birthed out of Refresh, but there was no structure.
Yeah.
Right? There was no business model. And the thing is that I always look at people the same way I look at myself, right? All right, you want to make it happen. Everybody's not built like that.
Yeah.
Right? So even when it was with you guys, it was like, all right, I want to create the structure to it. But the nuances of dealing with younger people is that there is a lot of interpersonal perspective that you guys got to work through, right? So all those things, in the midst of me trying to now rebuild this whole movement,
Yeah.
right? I got frustrated. I'm like,
Yeah.
that night y'all was in the night y'all did the pink room event in the store,
Yeah.
y'all set it up, and y'all was fussing in the front of the store. I was like, man, y'all fucked up. Like y'all fucking arguing about this shit. What did I say? You remember what I said to y'all?
I remember you said a lot of shit to us.
I said,
Call a Tucker guy up. You don't need him.
No, I didn't. I said, don't let this shit fuck y'all up. Y'all like brothers.
Yeah.
So don't let something so simple and silly divide you, right?
Yeah.
Either walk away saying, hey, man, I love and respect you, right? And just let that shit just breathe, or just not do it at all, right? And for me personally, that was a night I was like, man, I can't focus on this,
Yeah.
right? Because I really wanted the pink room thing to really be like this whole fucking thing, right? And I saw it as clear as day. All right, this can go like that can go like this. You know, from the first time I met y'all over at your spot.
Yeah.
All right, it can work, and it birthed into something. And I was like, even when the chick at Ace was like, man, well, we can put Refresh. I'm like, nah, it needs to be they thing, right? Because I didn't want to come in.
Yeah.
I was trying to prop it up.
Yeah.
It was more about me setting the stage for that to be something. All right, cool, that exists, right? And it's in this ecosystem of monetization, right? And it was about creating opportunities that were realistic, which it happened.
It happened so, but we didn't know what the fuck we was doing.
Yeah, it kind of happened. You know, and I talk to all of y'all independently,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not trying to make this a whole pink room therapy session.
There already is.
But
every week.
I talk to all of y'all independently, and I've heard every side of every story from everybody, and all y'all are right,
Yeah.
but all y'all wrong at the same time.
I could see that.
You know what I mean? And I show up for each of y'all respectfully as I need to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'll say anything I said to any one of y'all in your face. I don't care. Like, it don't make it. You know, I got love for everybody.
Yeah.
In the context of long as nobody disrespected me, but with respect to understanding that the human experience is not perfect. You know, I still think you guys had something that was magical. I don't think y'all could ever pull that back together because that time you just can't. You can't pull it back in.
You can't put it
But
back in the box.
You know, what you're doing now and adapting the people that understand how to now implement something. That's all I was trying to get y'all to understand then.
It was hard at the time. It was hard at the time. I don't. It was just too many fucking supernovas.
No.
Like Brandon's a supernova. He could do anything on his own that he could do with me. I think all of us, I think I was the glue for us at the time. And, you know, how Keisha's, everybody know Keisha's just a fucking, he's a star.
Yeah.
And he's been saying this shit since he was 16, 17. when Keisha was 18 when I met him. Like, it's just like, you know, you can't create that shit again. And people don't know how talented these motherfuckers are. They really don't understand.
I think they do. But I think the most important thing is valuing your own talent.
Yeah.
Because at one point in time, he was like, I ain't DJing no more. I'm like, Cap, you a DJ. What the fuck you talking about?
That was produced. I had stopped.
Time to put out some music.
I'm like, what? No, you can't not DJ.
I peeped that out too, though.
You had to go through that.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm telling Brandon, look, you a fucking super producer. Yeah, but I want to be an artist.
He is a super producer.
I'm like, bro, for real? Like, all right, I get it. Then be for real.
Yeah.
Produce, then become an artist.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you now, you know what I mean? If you think about it in context, now Pharrell's the head fucking fashion designer of fucking LV. Who would have thought the producer that became an artist is now fucking the head of one of the biggest fashion houses in the world?
I gotta say, I don't think anyone sounds as good on a Brandon Harris track as Brandon Harris does.
But he's an amazing artist. But
the thing about Brandon and his production, in his ear, he can produce for anybody.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
He can get gritty, grimy in the hood.
Oh
He
yeah.
can fucking go opera.
He produced for me, which seems impossible.
But you know, everybody has their own challenges and own perspective, and the reality is it's less important for me to know or challenge that, and more prevalent for me to accept it. Right?
And that's what I mean. But like where we at, like today, right? And like just continue to build. Basically, the story we kind of talked about today was like we did all that to get to this point because you learn from it all, and now my thing is like build a community because building the ecosystem. Like, all right, their kids come up to me and they're like, "Yo, Cab, I've been seeing you since Pink Room, and we been coming to your parties for years," and they trying to DJ and they asking me for guidance on shit, and it's now like, all right. The reason we doing this radio show is because nobody was doing it. Mm-hmm. Nobody is talking to people in the community and being like, yo, how are you operating in this? You've been knowing me for years. I only make money doing music. And I've been doing that in New Orleans since 2013. Mm-hmm. You know, it's 2023 now. And there's ups and downs of this shit. But now, all right, now I could see. Because my main goal is to start a fucking festival. Like to start the festival and have a club. You know what I'm saying? And I already know I could do this because I've been seen every fucking club in the city. And I'm like, oh, everybody's incompetent. I'm probably one of the most competent niggas when it comes to running the night in New Orleans. So now, it ain't hard. It's just doing it. And for you to tell me y'all came up with the concept of Refresh in 2003, and in 2007 you was about to go to Japan and say, fuck it. The store wasn't even ready. We did it anyway. That's how I kind of look at this shit. Sometimes you got to just do the shit anyway. Just fucking run the play anyway. Yeah. Like, okay.
There is no,
you know?
And I'm saying this respectfully. There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
Right. Only thing that you can really go off is your truth. That's the God's honest truth. You know, anybody can tell you. I can come and tell you the world, but if your truth in that moment in time is your truth, it's like. What I'm saying is irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have to, when these moments and people align in a way that it works, life is a very thin line of understanding and perspective. 1 second or one moment can change how you trust or not trust a person, right? That's how, like, sensitive this shit is. You know what I mean? But you also have to understand the only person you control in this world is yourself, right? So if I'm every day internally making myself a better person, right, I have to honor when somebody else is not committed to doing that. And I'm not saying they don't want to be a better person, but their life may be pushing them in different directions. And when I said I was like, yo, you know what, this ain't gonna work out. I gotta go this direction because the relevance in it is way more important for y'all to find out where y'all at with it.
Yeah.
Than for me to be like, yo.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'm gonna let y'all be men. You know what? 5 years later, yo, Shawn, you know what, man? You know what you told me 5-6 years ago? You was right.
Fact.
But that just makes me feel good.
Yeah.
That internally, who I am as a person, I trust enough for me to say the right things at the right time, right? And even though it may not resonate in that moment, in that second, because you was at that table when we was in New York, and I was telling Hakeesh, he was doing all this runway shit, and I'm like, what's your value? How are you now assessing your position in this whole thing? He didn't know what the fuck I was saying to him.
I know what the fuck. Oh yeah.
How much you willing to give up?
It's the value, but because in life, you know, the one thing that creatives don't really understand is how to now assess a value, right?
Yeah.
So there's no real business model around creativity, right? And I think the most frustrating thing for young creatives is to understand that it don't matter what the fuck the value is. It's what you say it is.
Yes.
And, you know, like, we did when the first opened, we did like a bunch of shows. We did the Clips at the House of Blues, and we did Drake at the Varsity in Baton Rouge because we had a store in Baton Rouge too. This was Drake mixtape era.
Yeah.
How much you think we got Drake for that show?
$5K.
$3,500. Right? We got Drake for $3,500 to do a show at the Varsity in Baton Rouge.
He's worth at least double that now.
A month after Drake did that show at the Varsity, he got an offer from Vanderbilt in Tennessee for $65,000.
God damn.
Right? He hasn't turned back since.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Drake wasn't prepared for that show. He just got an engineer.
Yeah.
They was trying to get the sound right for like an hour. There was a line outside.
This at the Varsity.
This at the Varsity. Like, man, we got like people waiting. They want to get in here. Like, we gotta just go, right? And the value comes when you understand your orientation, and it doesn't take for somebody to tell you that, right? And I'm saying that in the context of like Keish, right? I just talked to him the other day. I met Keish. He was an artist. He was doing art. He was painting. He was doing all this shit. And he said, "Oh, I'm doing music." I'm like, "All right, okay, you doing music, right?" I listened to it. I heard him. All right, yeah, you got something.
Yeah.
But you've been struggling. You've been fighting to do all this. And I told Keish the other day, I was like, you know why you struggling so much with music? Because when you was doing art, you had your pencils, your brush, canvas, paint. It was nothing in between you and what you was creating.
Facts.
With music, you gotta get a producer to come in the studio. You gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta do all these things to create. So now you're trying to create in the way that you understand your whole life, which is art, in the way that it incorporates more than that.
You remember when me and Brandon did Flesh for Keish? You paid for the fucking studio session. Mm-hmm. We did that song. I came back from DJing
nice
one night. I was like, this fucking song is incredible. Mm-hmm. We did Keish. Me and Brandon produced Keish's first project. Keish came back from New York one night, and we told Keish, we said, yo, we just want you to put Pink Room on the CD cover. I'm not putting Pink Room on the fucking CD cover. I'm the fucking star. You know, I'm the star. Mm-hmm. I made this shit. This is what he telling.
I am a god.
I said, Keish, this shit, you've been sleeping on my couch for 3 months. You got honey in here taking showers in here. You ain't paid me $1. My grandma cooking food for you. I said, man, look, dog, either that's gonna have I'm not giving you the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And but you know, I respected Keish for even telling me that, because it was like, I knew where he stood, and I kind of knew where his head was at. It
Well,
wasn't that like
You also gotta understand too, like that time there was just so much. As I said earlier, congestion, right? So the plight of being young is being frustrated.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So you guys ever read The Alchemist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the story of The Alchemist is so relevant in so many ways, right? So you leave here, you travel the world, and you get all this acclaim, and you come back home and nigga, you just a nigga.
You back home, you the homie. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the relevance in that is like niggas ain't respecting my mind, right?
Yeah.
And all you like, well, nah, man, we just want to just get our credit for being a part of the making this happen.
Yeah.
Right? So, but all of that on the heels of, and I'm saying I know the whole story.
Yeah, you saying it from the whole, from the
You know what I mean?
top down.
Like, man, like motherfuckers ain't trying to get my money. You know what I'm saying? They trying to fucking not give me, like, so this is what he's coming off the heels with. And now he's like, what? Nah, motherfucker, I ain't about to, no, I'm about to do that shit.
Yeah.
I'm the motherfucker, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
So it was misplaced energy, right? At a time when you may have been a lot more humble, but that kind of made you get a little harder edge. Like, what? Fucking nigga, how you sleeping on my couch? And you know what I mean? Whatever, right?
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
from your perspective.
Yeah.
So, but it's like all of these things that culminated to it helped and it also hurt some aspects of the situations, right?
Yeah.
So your revelation, personal revelations, B's revelations, Hakeish's revelations, and y'all still trying to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
But contextually, I mean, Hakeish, anyone like dude just traveled the whole world with like $700. I don't know how he did it. But I tell you, man, like if I had to be somewhere with somebody in survival mode, it's Keish. I'm like, all right, bro, we gonna figure it out. You got 700, all right, man.
Yeah, I peeped that. I peeped that too. Like I said, man, like I told you, I loved him to the end of the day. When he came down here last year, I respect the rawness of everybody that was around. And I say these stories to say, man, like the brotherhood of just that energy. It's not even about like, oh, we was beef. Yeah, we was fucking beefing. People don't know, yeah, all the shit that, like Shawn said earlier, the volatility of the pink room, the product you was getting of the rawness that came out on stage when you seen it was because we was fighting 2 minutes before we came on stage. And we was trying to knock each other head off.
Can't have one without the other.
You know what I'm saying? And we just let it all out.
Yeah.
And all that energy is still up. And the shit that people trying to recreate, if you're not willing to just give it all up, you know what I'm saying? But that might not even be smart. But I don't even know if that's smart.
I also think that, I mean, I'm not trying to toot my horn, but I also think I give people a space to fail.
Yeah.
Right?
Facts.
And honor that. Like, honor the fact that you're trying.
Yeah.
You're going to fail, but at least you're trying. Right? And in my own way, I probably say more with not saying nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you guys respectfully, not even just Pink Room, but even Frankie and Marty and Wayne and Cody, Larry was talking about his experiences with the store. I said that earlier, and like when you really look at all the spots that he got, it was birthed from what was happening at Refresh.
Yeah.
And I told Larry, I said, man, you know what? Like out of all the guys, because don't get me wrong, there's always been these eras of these guys that did parties and they had a club and they had a restaurant. Like that's nothing new.
Yeah.
But I told Larry the other day, I was like, man, you're the first dude that really understood the business of it, though.
Yeah.
Right? Because for them it was, they were way older than me, but for them it was like, oh, I got all the girls and I got the club. They did, but they wasn't respecting
That stuff
the
gets
business.
old, you know.
Yeah, it just
having all the girls.
So the
having
relevance
club.
in it is like to see this new generation of progression, right? By way of, okay, cool, man. Yeah, I want to get the bag though, right? All that being cool is cool, like, but I want to get the bag. I really want to make it make sense for my family. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So this is generations of failing.
Yeah.
And are now culminating into winning.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the most frustrating thing for me is like I'm at this phase with the store where I've sacrificed so much to make so many things happen, right? Within me, away from me. And now it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I put all this work and effort in, but I want to win and scale too. Yeah. Right? And oftentimes, you know, like you get older, you see all these old guys be like, man, y'all like more relevant when the old hip hop artist was like, man, y'all niggas making all this money and fucking all like, you're like, why you mad at that, right? That's what they supposed to do, right? The generation after you was supposed to do better. Yeah. But I also feel them now, like, well, I want to get a piece of it too, right? Yeah. Like, what's going on? Like, add me to the mix, but you know, you also got to take your own you got to take your own responsibility, because being older and wiser is great, but sometimes it also makes you so rigid. Yeah. You know what I mean? And now talking earlier about seeing the 20-year-old kids now in probably the most economic fucked up era ever, right? Oh, it's tough. Like, man, wow, I still see the sun outside. And I'm like, man, it's not dark out here. You know what I mean? Like, so I got to look at those kids in a way like, well, I just need to look at the sun, right? Yeah. Not be so consumed with how dark it is, because that's the truth, right? It's always a new day for somebody. A kid that's being born and they don't know anything that happened 47 years ago. They just know today. You know what I mean? And sometimes, you know, being older, you just get so consumed with knowing so much.
Well, you know what I mean? For me, like, at the end of the day, I always kind of looked at it as a business to me. Like, I say this to people, like, in the, like, nightlife shit. Like, I know the money that you can make. I know the understanding of the business of it. And that's what honestly, that's what I'm trying to push. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, the business side of this, because at the end of the day, if you don't have no resources, you can't expand and grow. Like, the resources is how we grow, and understanding the business of that is how we should grow. And dealing, like, having the nuance, like, basically taking the fucking, pushing the curtain back and saying, oh, so when somebody hear your story, they be like, all right, I kind of been in a similar position, so I could keep going. Like even failing, like, you know what I'm saying? Like this last couple of months, like when I had to leave Po' Boys because they were just having too much chaos going over there. Like, we had to scale back with Setdeflo. Like, the money had to scale back, and it's like, all right, but I've been here before. Yeah. I've seen this pace before, and it looks very familiar. Mm-hmm. And it's honestly not as dire as it seemed the first time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
There's also, like, the authenticity of building something completely from a new location that didn't have anything popping yet, because you get to know that you grew it completely without the consumer base that was already going to that location just because they were going to be there. Even
the authenticity of just building something.
So think about this, Cav. When I brought you to New York, right? Mm-hmm. And I took you to the Marnie store.
Yeah. I remember that.
I took Cav from the Marnie store, and he was like, I was like, yeah, this is where I'm trying to go with it. Yeah. And Cav was like, what?
I don't even think they have.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't see it, right?
Avant-garde, like,
right. So it was like, and the reason I brought him to New York at that time, because it was his first time ever. He told me he'd never been to New York. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go. I think I hit you on like a Tuesday.
It was just random.
I'm leaving Thursday.
He was like, let's pull up. He was like, just pull up with me.
Right. So we went up to New York, and
I had no money
at the time. I just really wanted him to see beyond what was happening in his world, right? because contextually, it was important for me because he sonically understood it, but visually, it just wasn't connecting, right? So, me saying, all right, we'll come to New York, man, you get a little snapshot of this shit, right? Was just to plant a little bit of a seed to be like, all right, yeah, shit. There is a world outside of this that understand what the fuck is going on. Because as a DJ, you know, coming from music, me doing music myself, as a younger version of myself, I understand how important it is to kind of get outside of that bubble, right? And I think you, and this is me speaking just freely, I think you felt isolated because you had so much that you was trying to just express, and I heard it through your DJing, that you really didn't have the space to really just kind of open up.
Yeah, the world wasn't there.
Right? So, and that raw energy was really what I felt when I heard it. I'm like, all right, Cab understands what the fuck is happening. And everything else that after that happened. But getting back to the business part of it too, is like, none of this is what ever makes sense. We'll have all these pockets and moments and shit that's just gonna pop and people gonna feel it here and the third. But for me, like when I connected with you and then I kind of birthed into the whole Pink Room shit, it was really was just me trying to be like, I need to be more present by way of now, hey, look, let me help you structure this a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me give you some context to how y'all should be looking at this framed up, right? But I think for me on the other side of it was like, well, there was a lot of things happening wrong with the business of Refresh.
Yeah.
Right? The culture, the vision, all of that was easy, right? But you know, it got to the point that it was like, well, yeah, we partying every day, we popping bottles, but this is a business. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, we still, in order to maintain this, we have to now put, and when I came in and kind of reformed it, right, after the ownership shift, everybody challenged it. Everybody was like, well, I don't think that's going to work. That doesn't make any sense. Well, nobody realizes the first day Refresh opened, it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, everybody that questioned it benefited off of what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was totally confident, scared but confident.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That, this is necessary. Like, you know, people don't realize when we did that for Pharrell in store, right? For me, you know, like seeing Pharrell came out the back of the store, and it's almost like everybody in the store froze. Like, hold up, did Pharrell just walk out here? Like, cause you know, New Orleans was a city of always it's gonna happen, but it never happened.
Yeah,
right? Cause it's like before UCAV, like there was an era of party concert promotions where there was like these guys promoting concerts. They'll sell tickets. The artists would never show up. Right?
Yeah.
So it was like this whole pretentious energy between the time you bought your ticket. Is the artist really gonna show up or not? Right. So that moment for me in the store was like, it was a few things that happened. It was, okay, people are still polarizing the idea that it's not real, right? Pharrell himself had to say, like, look, y'all can come up. You know, I'm here, essentially, right? And then everybody got out of it like, oh, all right, yeah. So, but that moment for me was like, all right, it was a switch and where I was like the whole Marnie, all that, the luck shit, because, you know, we were the first store to have Bape. We was the first store to have Billionaires Boys Club. We was the first store to bring Naked and Famous, Nudie, whatever, hundreds, 10 deep, all that, right? And, you know, the frustrating thing was like, all right, people coming in behind that and piggybacking off of it. And, you know, it's like, yo, I checked a few people, you know what I mean, just respectfully, but had to let them know, like, yo, this, you know, just respect what's going on over here.
Yeah.
But that moment in my decision of saying, hey, look, this got to go a different direction was understanding that sneaker culture and streetwear culture, it apexed. it was only only way it was gonna go was into Lux, right? And now you got Virgil's, the Pharrell's, like, but nobody understood that
Yeah,
because they didn't understand the nuance,
they understand that 10 years ago, but it was like going in that direction.
right?
Like
Because
the trajectory just kept going in that direction.
there was no other way, and you got to understand that all of that was already driven by the culture.
Yeah,
It was inevitable for it to spill over,
yeah,
right? And if you understand that aspect of it, then you see it like a map. It's like, oh, yeah, that's where we going.
we already know what a finish, not the finish line is, but like we got a North Star. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I kind of see, like I see the city the same way from I keep saying counterculture, but I'm saying anything that goes against the grain or that challenges the norm, growth comes out of that. And I think like where the city is right now, because like the kids who come out now, I mean, it's interesting, like the patrons of the of my parties now in nightlife. Really,
Do you feel like because I hear people, I at this stage, I've probably not as much as before, but it was almost like the pink room with this mythical unicorn. The parties that they never went to. It's just like,
yeah.
I heard about the party, and
yeah,
then I heard about this group of
it was only 2 years.
transplants that came in, was doing all these little road off the grid parties, trying to
yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know them too.
Which it's a little weird, but I get it. I think that it's a mixed bag for me. But going back to what you're saying, the structure and understanding the nuance of what needs to happen from a business standpoint, is way more relevant. And I think in anywhere where you're from, if you're not owning and dominating what you created, right, in some shape, form, or fashion, or getting the respect of that, right, it becomes very dangerous.
I'll tell you what we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
When we started Pink Room, we was pure raw energy, and people resonated with that energy. And with Setdeflo right now, that I'm still the same person. And like even when Brandon was coming, I knew how to cultivate a community. That was my gift. Like my gift was cultivating the community, and Brandon was a fucking producer, and Harakeesh was an extremely just showman. That my gift was I could put people in front of y'all to see what the fuck y'all do. And I still do that. Like we have the purest black run dance floor in the city when it comes to house and techno. You can't go to another house techno night in this city and see. We just had Brett Buffon and my man Flim. Flim is a kid who came to my parties for years and then started DJing like 3 years late, like 2019. And he's an amazing DJ now, like fucking incredible.
Yeah.
And what we doing now is just cultivating. It's not as like when we started, it was more like, all right, this is house music. This is the introduction to house music. Now we just full blown house and techno. So when you come now, it's like, oh, we teaching you what this music is about. And to be real with you, black dudes run this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's who putting this on. So it's a mind fuck sometimes when the gentrifiers or the audience come see it and they're like, oh, this is not white shit, or this is not what I think. Same way when they come to your store. I've seen it a bunch of times. Oh, this is a boutique store? Oh, you the owner? And half the time you don't even tell people you the owner. It's like that's like an afterthought. And I kind of took that from you. Like when we doing the night, it's like it's not about who's running it, but I want you to know that black people did this, but also I want you to just I want black kids to see, oh, there's different avenues to growing in spaces. So you just don't have to be so one track of tunnel vision when you're trying to figure out where you can land. And landing is not just the DJing part. Landing will be like the photography or the graphic design or the fucking sound design or the videography. There's so many places to land in this space.
I'm less, just being totally honest, I come from an era where it went from I'm black and I'm proud to, man, don't let them know you black on. To, you know what I mean? To the point to where it's like, well, fuck it. I'm just dope. Right?
Yeah.
I just want to fuck with dope people. I just want people that's fucking cool, that fucking understands it and get it. And if you just happen to fucking think or care about the fact that I'm a person of color, but we all the same. Right? But, we do live in the United States of America. So it's always this message of digress education. Right? Well, you're impoverished and you're this, you're that, and it's just like, okay, cool. Obviously, there's a bias, right? So how do we now circumvent that? I had a conversation with some of the people that are part of the Black Lives Matter like heads, right? I'm like, well, I get it, but what about the white kid that grew up with the black kid that's like his best fucking friend ever, right? Like how does he now fit into that whole movement, right? And seeing that whole George Floyd thing was like, damn, I've never in my life seen a white kid jump in front of a cop for a black kid ever. That's different as a motherfucker.
That's actually being an ally,
right? So it's like for me, I'm like, man, you willing to sacrifice yourself for a kid that you understand is now in the position that you're not in, right? And the cop dancing around the white kid like,
right.
I'm not gonna hit him. Let me get this kid behind
the white
him,
kid
right?
is lava.
So, right? And the white kid's like, yeah, fuck you, man. Don't touch my fucking friend. Fuck you, motherfucker. Right? You pig. And it's just like, oh, solidarity. That's different. That's so fucking different, right? In my 47 years of living, I've never seen that. So now I gotta show up and be like, look, Tucker, you my brother.
Let's go.
You know what I mean? Because I gotta honor the fact that I did that flyer. Before George Floyd. It was about embracing the idea of just being cool. Being organically creative. Building a community that's not about just this biased perspective.
It's progressive.
It's about being progressive.
It's progressive.
And that's what Refresh has always been about.
I think, you know, I mean, like, that's poetry in motion. I think that's poetic, and I think, you know, we, like, honestly, I always say, and I think I've told this to everybody around me, I never try to alienate my room, like the dance floor. It's really the only place you could be yourself. That, like, it's politics to me. I went to this black, it's called Homecoming. I don't know if you heard of this. It's like, what's the event? It was like a networking event.
It was a networking event. It was specifically.
Go ahead, tell them.
Well, it's the concept behind it was bringing people of influence that were specifically black and from New Orleans that had either been outside the city or developed something here, bringing them together to talk about how to either bring people that were black and had massive talent and had to leave the city to get money in the positions or artistry or things that they were doing, to get them to come back to the city in some way to sort of reinvest in the city and keep black business here.
Man, they've been talking about that for a while.
So, you know, we've been working with Essence we did Essence last year.
Okay.
And we supposed to work with them again for this year. I wasn't going to go to the shit. But Vic was like, look, you got to go. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go. And halfway through the event, they had some nerds talking about data. They was like, so the data says, like, you guys are poor and black people don't have this. This was
like a few months ago, right?
This was like...
This was about 2 months ago.
Yeah. This was... It was like last month, right? Yeah.
It was
No, it
like
was a
I think
couple
he
of
called
months
them
ago because they
nerds.
came by the store. Them
Yeah.
the dudes. So
Yeah.
let me say this about Essence, right? Don't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just give you some context.
Okay.
For the guys that's over there now, they're younger,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
So I think what Essence is, it's shifting, right? They're really trying to redefine what their presence is
Facts.
and how they now move forward as a now, I want to say, re-emerging, trying to recalibrate whatever that looks like moving forward. So they're filling out, like you telling me you tapped in with them. Then I had like a preacher that tapped in with them on some stuff.
Yeah.
And I've talking to them personally. You know, and they're asking real candid questions. Do people know about the store? And I'm like,
Yeah.
not really. You know, but there's a lot of changes that they've had
Yeah.
internally. But what I'm gonna say to you is, understand that if you're the glue,
Yeah.
just be the glue, right? Don't challenge yourself to be more relevant in the context of what you think you represent when
Yeah.
you really represent more than what you really want to
Yeah.
accept, right? And I've challenged myself in that own way, right?
Yeah.
By way of, you know, it went through this whole era of, well, we gotta have these brands in the store, right? Whether it's the APC or the John Elliott, whatever it was, right? To the more to like, I'm at the face now, I'm like, I don't really give a fuck about the damn brands. I really like just dope shit,
Yeah.
right? I just want shit that fucking people can be like, man, I never seen that before. That's amazing,
Yeah.
right? It's less about the brands, and that's also me being inspired by now the kids that went from doing gilding T-shirts at Purple Monkey to now getting a sewing machine and sewing up their own pieces.
Fucking right.
Right? So it's like, damn, that's dope, bro. You just got a sewing machine and you just made some shit
Yeah.
to wear today,
Hell yeah.
right? So it's like, that's gangster. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
less about and
Yeah.
the people that actually, wait, what brands you? I really think the brands are going to become less irrelevant because
Yeah.
you got kids with sewing machines and they just like, man, I want them pants today. I'm
that
not gonna
tick-
wait in no line.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna wait to get the Jordans. I don't want to join the raffle. I'm gonna make my own fucking shoe. I'm gonna make my own pair of pants. I'm gonna make my own jacket. That's the motherfuckers. That's the future,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like for me, I'm looking for the kids that's like, man,
Peer to peer. I gotta
like this brand right here, Blue Boy.
I gotta connect you with my little homie. He came into the party. He just came up. He was like, "Yo, bro, I'm getting some shoes made in China right now." He's like, "I'm about to get you a piece where it's gonna be." He said you could put your code in it, so when cats come off the code, they could put a Setdeflo. I got a what's Gabby boyfriend name?
That's the fucking
You know
future.
what I'm talking
Nick.
about? Not Nick. You know what I'm talking about. Who did the Missy Elliott thing for us last year?
Oh, Kelsey.
Kelsey. I gotta connect you with Kelsey.
See, but that the brands are like
know what
all
I'm
of
saying?
this shit is a contextual.
He's so smart too.
It's a box that's
Yeah.
not real,
Yeah.
right? And that's the way I've
Yeah.
always looked at life.
Yeah.
It's a box that's not real,
Yeah.
right? Well, you got like now, you know, in the past few years, oh, why you don't got a Nike account? Why you don't sell Nikes? What the fuck? Where's Nikes? No disrespect. to
No,
Nike,
it's just like you
but
like
at the
what you
same
like.
time,
Like
it's
real-
just like
real-
no. But what I'm
because-
saying is, I'm 47.
Yeah.
When I grew up, my mom couldn't afford to buy me Nikes.
Yeah.
She took me
Yeah.
to Payless.
Yeah.
Same.
So I don't have kids, but I'm pretty sure. Like most of the people, like I had a conversation with somebody that's like 44, and he was telling me about his kid. His kid, you know, he's like they go to the restaurant. He order popcorn, shrimp. He take the fucking the breading off of the popcorn shrimp. Eat the bread. Fuck the shrimp, right? He just want to eat the bread, right? And I said, that's your fault,
Awesome.
right? He's like, what do you
Fucking
mean?
awesome, dude.
I said, well, you've created a lifestyle that your child now understands that he don't need to eat the shrimp. He can order the shrimp, but he don't need to eat the shrimp.
But he take the breading off the strip and
And
just
just
eat
eat
the.
the breading.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like eating the
So-
chicken skin on the Popeyes.
So I'm saying that to say that 44-year-old dude,
Yeah.
kid probably wearing Nikes and Jordans since birth.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I wear Louis Vuitton every day. So my kid gonna be looking at me like, well, Dad, yo, nah, man, I don't want them Nikes, man. I'm 13 now.
Yeah.
I want the LVs.
Yeah,
So his palette
different.
is different.
Yeah,
Nike is whatever. Like Nike is now Payless
yeah,
for those kids.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want the Nikes, man.
I'm gonna tell you a story. When I was a kid, my dad bought me some Timberlands, and Timberlands was popping. I was like, and I didn't want them.
Yeah.
And it was that's funny because you kind of you get used to certain shit. It's like, oh.
So the generation
Yeah,
after you was going, it's just different.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? And those kids not going Nike. People that grew up in the Sears, and they
yeah.
probably never thought Sears would go out of business. Right? Sears making tools, fucking garage door. They was making every goddamn
Christmas
thing.
pictures.
Yeah. They used to make
Everything, right?
houses.
Yeah,
You
So-
could buy a house.
When you
Yeah.
when you think about these eras and generational brands, and you think about now,
yeah,
who would the fuck that thought that Amazon, which was a fucking book company, now be one of the biggest companies selling just whatever in the world, right?
yeah,
You would never thought that.
yeah.
Yeah, I met my wife on the Amazon 3D workspace where I spend 90 hours a week
Is that
harvesting organs.
the mother of your 15-year-old
You know, mother of my
child?
15-year-old child.
So you look at this now continuation of progression. Everything's at risk. You know what I mean? And we have to be more conscious of how we are embracing each other. We're embracing the past, present, and the future, and understand that even in our frustration, we have to prepare ourselves to show up for ourselves more importantly, but understand that it's not a perfect world, but as long as we honor and respecting each other, it can be a better world.
Well, I'm gonna leave it at that. I appreciate you coming through tonight, cause I mean, me and you don't talk as often as we used to, but when we do tap in, we always tap in. We do. It's Vic's birthday this weekend.
Oh,
so,
happy birthday.
Thank you.
so we're gonna be at Setdeflo for the last
Turn
Setdeflo
25.
before Set Gala. And
Yeah.
Plugs.
you at the Tell Me Bar this
Well,
weekend,
so
right?
Thursday is Set to Flows at
Oh, we doing Luna
Setdeflo
Fest.
is at
Luna
Luna
Fest.
Fest.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
doing
me, Heel Turn, Lord Chilla,
Yeah,
At
from
the
6
Piazza
to 10
d'Italia.
at the Piazza d'Italia.
that's gonna be downtown.
Which is, we're kind of like all like the wannabe models do their first photo shoot there when they're like 19, and now we're gonna be doing 3D projection mapping. We're gonna be playing
Oh,
weird.
word? That's
Yeah, we're gonna be
dope.
playing weird sounds as the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Saturday you
then
have
Pull up,
Saturday.
I'll be snapping
I'm-
pictures.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
all about my frequencies.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
you
Yeah.
gotta come through.
Megahertz.
Well, we gonna be around.
Come through
though.
on Saturday.
We Set the Flow is the collective. I'm not DJing that. I'm DJing Sunday for that. I'm headlining that Sunday night. Saturday we're gonna be at the St. Claude
Yeah.
with Quick Weave.
At the
We're
Domino.
celebrating Vic's birthday.
Come pregame at Tell Me Bar
It's our last
with
show
me
for the year. It's our
again.
last show for the year.
Shit.
I appreciate you coming, bro. You taught me a lot, and I just wanted people to understand that where the culture started from. And I want to tell you something after the show. But we're gonna see y'all this Saturday. Always live your life, never live a lie. It's Setdeflo.club.